Marvel. The devastation of natural disasters begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126. The captain wakes up. Director, he woke up. He finally woke up, earlier than expected. Trident headquarters. Phil Coulson no longer has his usual poise, and dances towards Nick Fury's office, shouting in ecstasy. Really? Nick Fury's face frowns, and he stood up full of joy. He did not scold Phil Coulson for his rudeness. He could guess who made Phil Coulson so rude. According to our estimation, after the captain is released from the ice, it will take at least a while for him to wake up completely safe and sound. I didn't expect him to regain consciousness so quickly. Good. Come on. 39 inches, he said, and led Phil Coulson to meet the captain. He also did not forget to put away the double-guided roar machine on the table, and carefully picked up a lazy orange cat. 923. This orange cat is too dangerous. If it wasn't something he was thinking about today, and it was related to his owner, he wouldn't think of this dangerous and lazy orange cat. Anyway, he has been taking good care of it, and he doesn't want to go blind in the other eye from taking care of the orange cat. In a neighborhood with beautiful scenery, a thin, blonde man with strong abdominal muscles was sitting on a park bench. His face was complicated, his eyes were blank, he was at a loss. He was also curious and scared, until he noticed Nick Fury holding the orange cat, carrying Phil Coulson and receiving the news halfway. Hill, Black Widow and Hawkeye, who joined in, came towards him. Captain, you are finally awake. My name is Nick Fury. I am the commander of the National Strategic Defense Offensive and Logistics Support Agency. You are my best agents. Phil Coulson, Hill, Black Widow, Hawkeye. Nick Fury neatly introduced himself, and also introduced the others one by one, and then solemnly said to the captain, "Welcome back to the team." The captain stood up blankly, nodded politely to everyone, then shook his head and said with a wry smile, "Let's not talk about returning to the team in advance. I just woke up and am not familiar with this new era. Like an old antique, I just think about it now. Walk around." 35 inches after that, "Go see her." After losing the word, he turned around to leave. Phil Coulson's face became anxious and he was about to call roar. Nick Fury stretched out a hand in time to stop him, took a few steps forward, looked at the captain's back, and said loudly, "Captain, you just woke up. I know it is very difficult for you to return to the team immediately. However, time is running out. The world is facing the threat of mutants, and our nation, and even the entire mankind, needs you to stand up and fight evil." Nick Fury's words stopped the captain's steps. Although he didn't think about returning to the team, he always followed justice and couldn't turn a blind eye to evil. Mutant threat against evil? Although I don't know what's going on, I am always on duty if necessary. The captain turned around, stood up, and said righteously. Nick Fury smiled reassuringly, and sure enough, no matter how long the captain slept, he never changed. It's up to you to fight evil. The World Conference is approaching in a month, and it's time to decide that Roar is calling you back. Nick Fury glanced at the crowd, then quietly took out the double-guided roar machine, looked at the sky. His face was confident, and he had a decision. There are too many variables in Tang Feng's interview with the leaders of various countries. Whether it is a peaceful solution in the end or a war breaks out, Tang Feng, with his powerful strength, will prevail. Nick Fury will not let Tang Feng recklessly rely on his strength. He is already making preparations. The Special Avengers team is already organizing and gathering people. Because of Tang Feng's threat, as soon as he proposed the Avengers plan, he got the unanimous support of all the members of the World Security Council. This is why the Avengers appeared faster than the original time because of Tang Feng. Provisional Avengers personnel. Commander-in-Chief Nick Fury, Captain Steve Rogers during the war, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Orange Cat. There is also a heroine who hurriedly returns from the universe. The newly created Avengers. Their first action is to fight Tang Feng and protect the world at the beginning of the World Conference. Swoosh tilde in the dark and silent universe, a spaceship like a fighter plane was flying at extreme speed, and a fiery light was emitted from the tail, like a meteorite, and the direction was approaching 0 to the blue star. Dang, dang, dang. Just like the sound of a blacksmith hammering iron, it kept echoing in Tony's underground research room. Ever since he saw his future with Tang Feng's help, Tony has been busy for more than half a month. If it weren't for Jarvis's reminder, he might have died suddenly. On this day, the clattering sound of clattering finally stopped. Success. Tony was very excited and touched the steel battlesuit in front of him with excitement. Although the function is very simple, it is the original version of the steel battlesuit. However, this also shows that his research and development ideas are not wrong, and the future he sees is not wrong. The steel battlesuit is the fourth suitable for him. 0 By the way, it hasn't been painted yet. Tony saw the steel battlesuit full of metallic colors and looked very awkward. He thought of the reason, took gold and red dyes and painted them on the steel battlesuit. It didn't take long for the gold and red steel battlesuit to appear, exactly like the future he saw. I'll call you Mark 1, Jarvis. Record the file for the Mark 1 and then help me assemble it. I want to test its operation. Tony had just finished saying what he was expecting when someone rang the doorbell. The person who came to get him was Obadiah. Stanley frowned tightly and rang the doorbell with a dissatisfied expression. 4.7 Tony has not attended the parliament for half a month, and he has not been in charge of the company. The most important thing is that the new missile weapon he needs has never been developed by Tony, and he is very dissatisfied. Every day I know that I am having fun and not caring about the company's affairs. If it weren't for me, the company would have collapsed long ago, and it would be impossible to become the world's #1 industrial group. It's just that I am not the chairman with the most shares. His dissatisfaction, his resentment, more and more. When Tony came in, he welcomed him and couldn't help but show him the Mark 1. His eyes lit up, his greed could not be controlled, and he looked at Tony with a veiled killing intent. Chapter 127 The Return of Captain Marvel. At 1:45 p.m. New City time, there was a battle between two robots on the street near Stark Industries. In the end, the small one, painted gold and red, won the battle. Afterwards, Tony immediately held a press conference and announced in public, "I am Iron Man." In the crowd, Phil Coulson smiled helplessly. All his previous efforts were in vain, and thought of an excuse to let Tony hide his identity, which he knew he liked to show off so much, and announced it in public. "Commander, the mission is screwed. Tony has already announced his identity in public, but I think there is one more candidate for the Avengers." Phil Coulson looked across the crowd in front of Tony, who was standing on the high platform in front, and said with a smile, "That's good news. You won't be punished if you mess up the mission. Go back. I will go to see Tony in person tomorrow." And it turns out that the agent installed in General Ross also gave me good news. 09 Perhaps, in front of Tang Feng, we can have another very irritable big green guy. At the end of the call, Phil Coulson rubbed his forehead. With a confused head, he thought of Nick Fury's words, shook his head, and left with a smile. Although he didn't know who the big green guy was, he only needed to know that he could become a member of the Avengers. The more Avengers members there are, the more confident they are to fight against Tang Feng and against Mutant. Don't forget that except for Tang Feng, the rest of the mutants, such as Magneto, Eric, Charles, Black Queen, White Queen, X-Men, Brotherhood, etc., are not easy to contend with. To fight Tang Feng, Mutant must also be counted. Therefore, even if the members of the Avengers are increasing, each of them is also equipped with unique abilities, and one or two of them are comparable to the strength of level 4 or above. For Nick Fury, there are never too many. I'll ask you if you can recruit the big green guy. At Trident headquarters, Nick Fury watched in anticipation as the captain took Black Widow and Hawkeye away. Because of the pressure Tang Feng gave him, unlike the original plot, Nick Fury did not let Hulk wander around for a few years before thinking of recruiting him into the Avengers. But after learning of the accidental birth of Hulk, and knowing that Hulk had defeated the troops sent by General Ross one by one, whether it was gunships, tanks, or missiles, they could not threaten his intelligence at all. The moment he heard about it, Nick Fury was so moved that he would not hesitate to offend the military and recruit Hulk into the Avengers. No matter how frenzied and uncontrollable Hulk is, he doesn't care. He would rather take the risk and recruit him to fight Tang Feng together to overcome the current difficulties. There are 3 days left. Standing there thinking for a moment, Nick Fury looked at his watch and muttered to himself. 3 days later, it was the start of the World Conference, and he looked up at the sky, worried that she had not returned in time. Just thinking about this question, in the distant horizon, a meteor with a fiery light broke through the atmosphere and landed in the direction of Trident headquarters. Nick Fury was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help showing an excited smile. He returned, "Not late, Director. An unknown fighter plane has landed from outside the planet, requesting instructions." Hill hurried over and said with a solemn expression, "Don't worry, it's our heroine who has returned, and we will find her together." Nick Fury said. He took the lead to leave, and did not forget to bring the orange cat. Hill followed with a puzzled look. The open space not far from the Trident headquarters, the Universe fighter plane is parked here. There are already a group of agents around with guns in their hands, and with the arrival of Nick Fury, they separate a path, and under his order, they are equally puzzled. Put down their weapons, no longer facing the space fighter. With a click, the door of the fighter plane opened, and under everyone's attention, a woman in a red and blue battle uniform and long blonde hair walked out. "Carol, long time no see, welcome back." 35 Nick Fury hugged the orange cat, greeted it first, and said happily, "Fury, long time no see, and Gugu, long time no see." It seems that Fury took good care of you and gained a lot of weight. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers were also happy to greet Raoul, and when they saw the orange cat jumping off Fury, they quickly walked over and hugged him. "Hey, Fury, why are you blinded in one eye?" While talking to the orange cat kissing knee, Carol looked at Fury's eye in surprise and asked with concern, "It's okay, I just blinded myself by accident." Fury's face twitched and he looked at the orange cat. He couldn't say that he blinded him when he was teasing your cat. The orange cat is a primordial beast, and it is a vicious beast in the universe. When Carol left the planet and entrusted the orange cat to him, although he had seen the fierceness of the orange cat, it was normal. They are all harmless and cute, so they don't take it seriously. It was just that he was not alert. As a result, when he was teasing him, he blinded one of Fury's eyes. Since then, he has stayed away from the orange cat, and if he is afraid of the orange cat, he will be able to see the orange cat's eyes again. If you hold it, it will scare you. Next, Fury and Carol simply said a few words of greeting, then left the place first, returned to the Trident headquarters office, and then started to talk about business. "Tell me, what's the matter with you calling me back this time?" 923 Carol frowned, then shook her head sadly and said, "You shouldn't have called me back at this time. It's really not the right time. I hope they haven't chased them and noticed our planet." "What happened?" Fury was startled and asked, "To tell you the truth, I'm running away now. If I hadn't received your message from Raoul, knowing that you weren't endangering the world, and you hadn't called me back, I would definitely not have chosen this time to come back. Although I think I've gotten rid of them. Their detective skills are strong and numerous, and they are a troublesome race, and even the Kree wouldn't want to mess with them. If they follow me to the planet, it will bring an extinction crisis to the planet. They're called the Annihilation Zerg. Well, now I don't know if they will chase after them. It's useless to talk about it. Let's talk about your business first. I took such a big risk to come back, and I hope it's not a trivial matter." 5 Carol waved her hand and said the name of the Annihilation Zerg. She didn't explain it for the moment, but instead asked, "I'm sorry to call you back at this time, but I can't help it, it's too strong." Fury first apologized, suppressed the question of annihilating the Zerg, and then talked about Tang Feng. Chapter 128 Atlantis. Iron Man was born. Hulk also appeared earlier than expected, and this, a space fighter plane, it should be her. Tang Feng was temporarily busy and finally had some free time. He made tea and drank it slowly while looking at the 3 photos on Erlang's cross-legged table. The first one is a photo of 2 Iron Men fighting on the street, and it is about Tony. Tang Feng was not surprised. When he used time confusion to let Tony see a small picture of the future, he knew that this day would come. To his surprise, after his influence, Tony was no longer injured, no longer trapped, and was still fighting with the Iron King, and turned against Obadiah Stani. Then there is the second photo, Hulk standing on the battered tank, the roar emitted by the sky. People are frightened and frightened. If you guessed correctly, it should be because of Tang Feng's threat. General Ross accelerated the progress of super soldier research and development, causing Dr. Banner to become Hulk faster than the original time due to the experimental accident. The last photo is of a space fighter landing at Trident headquarters. Although he didn't see who it was, Tang Feng could also guess who Nick Fury had called. The superhero gathered to fight Thanos, and he knew what Nick Fury's cards were. I didn't expect that I would also receive Thanos treatment. Captain Marvel, I wonder how strong you are. Level 4 or level 5? I hope you won't let me down. Tang Feng smiled and said to himself, looking forward to it. Wang, this is my list of selected fighters. Please sign and approve. At this moment, Magneto Eric walked in with a document and asked Tang Feng to sign it. Okay, I see. Tang Feng shook his head helplessly. His free time was gone. He opened the file. Cyclops Scott, Storm Moralo, Sabretooth, Wolverine, Deadpool, Torrent, Storm, Magma Man, even the student Burning Man, Iceman, Colossus in it. Juggernaut is temporarily away. Tang Feng has no time to save him, and plans to wait for the World Conference to allow all countries to become friends. As for Deadpool, he was active in the recruitment world before, ignoring humans and mutants, and when the mutant kingdom was established, mutants gathered one by one, and he couldn't contain his curiosity. As a result, he was discovered by Magneto Eric, and then arrested and detained. The people mentioned above are all battle captain candidates, and besides, there are many fighters. The attribution of those ordinary mutants does not need Tang Feng's approval, just some minor roles, and Magneto can decide. Magneto's current position is the Minister of Military Affairs, who controls the military power of the mutant country and is responsible for defending against the enemy. Iceman, Burning Man, Colossus, or a student, can you take on the responsibility of Battle Captain Tilda? Tang Feng frowned and asked slowly, for me, as long as the strength is strong enough, the lack of experience can be slowly cultivated. 35 Magneto Eric said directly, well, you are the military minister. Do whatever you want. Tang Feng shrugged and signed his name willingly. He has always had a clear understanding of himself, and it is his duty to establish the mutant kingdom, to be the king, and to protect his people. For the military, administration, construction, development, foreign trade, etc., he has mastered the 7 orifices, but he knows nothing. Therefore, he has self-knowledge and can delegate power. Anyway, the mutant country is fundamentally different from other countries. As long as it is strong enough, no one can shake its throne. Although Tang Feng is not greedy for the powerful, he established the mutant kingdom and protected mutant. After so much effort, he would not hand over the kingship. King, the name of our continent was finally decided after everyone's deliberation, and it is called Atlantis. Right after dealing with Magneto Eric, Charles also arrived in a wheelchair with a stack of documents, pushed by Beast Hank. Charles is the executive secretary, responsible for the construction of the city, administration, making the new laws pertaining to mutants and many other things. Too busy to die. Still, Charles enjoyed it. It ignited his passion and he decided to contribute the rest of his life to the mutant nation. Beast Hank's education is also very high. If he can help Charles, he will help him as a deputy. Atlantis, the name is okay. According to rumors, Atlantis is a highly developed civilization. There have always been very mysterious rumors that it can not only control light, but also has a very powerful energy system. They look like humans. They are a three-eyed race. Their 3 eyes are the same as the ability of our mutants, and they have all kinds of strange abilities. For comparison, we mutants are really similar to them. Hey, is the city we are building now called Disaster City? Tang Feng said as he flipped through the documents Charles handed him. When he turned to the page about building a city, he asked in confusion, yes. We mutants have experienced several persecutions. These are also disasters, and their power is related to disasters. Our new continent, the establishment of the mutant kingdom, is also related to disasters. So, everyone agrees on the name of Disaster City. If you have a different name, you can change it. Charles nodded lightly and said, 66 vertical bar, don't change it. The City of Disaster also sounds pretty good. 35 Is this my royal palace? Look at this layout, it looks very noble and luxurious. You are interested? Tang Feng turned to the palace planning page and nodded in satisfaction. Wang, I have some documents here for you to sign. The Black Queen also came to find Tang Feng, holding the document. First greeted Magneto, Eric, Charles, Roar one by one, and then brought the document to Tang Feng for him to sign. Tang Feng sighed, took a sip of tea, and continued to sign. While signing it, I glanced at it, and the documents included the names of Bonesbur Man, Multiple, Reborn, Little Naughty, Wanda, Lonely Light, Quick Strike, Negative Sonic Warhead, etc., who were also the captains. Different from the battle captains, they are the security captains, and the Black Queen is the sheriff in charge of internal affairs. The Black Queen is in charge of big crime, illegality, small disputes, and troubles. Before Tang Feng could sign it, the White Queen came in with the piano and asked Tang Feng to sign it. Promise is good. The White Queen is the head of the intelligence section, in charge of intelligence. Qin is the deputy head of the section, and the members include Mystique. Mystique, who has been hiding all the time, came back after knowing that Tang Feng established the mutant kingdom. Chameleon, Callus Toro, skill with fast movement, perception skill level. Blink opened the space channel and brought Lisa and Shadow Cat over, but he also had something that worried Tang Feng. Blink is the head of logistics, responsible for grants, emergency treatment of the wounded, information transmission. These things, the members are Lisa, Shadow Cat, Quicksilver, Blue Devil, Angel. Among them, the Red Devil disappeared and didn't know whether he was alive or dead. Later, Linger, who was wearing a professional attire, also came in with two secretaries. She gave Tang Feng an accounting book and asked him to sign it. Linger is the head of the house, responsible for money. These people at present are the most powerful people in the mutant country. Tang Feng is the king and looks down on everyone. Magneto, Charles and others are his subordinates who help him manage the mutant kingdom. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, The Avengers Debut. After being busy for 2 hours again, after signing the documents and helping everyone decide some things, Tang Feng watched Magneto and the others leave, and he was finally able to relax. He stretched his waist, stood by the window and looked outside. What caught his eyes was a group of busy mutants, each using skill, or trying to contribute a little of their own strength to build their new home. A busy situation, with noise, passion, excitement and anticipation, as if the country had just opened up, eating a big pot of rice and building together. Now the mutant country is really lively, everyone is full of hope, and everyone is working hard to build a new home. In less than a month, the number of mutants who have come from all over the world has approached 100,000, and the number is still steadily increasing. Even ordinary believers who believe in Tang Feng have come to the new world. See Tang Feng. He was surprised by this and waved his hand. If there are believers who want to stay, he can guarantee that they will be treated equally, and there will be no class distinction between mutants and ordinary people. After all, he is his own believer. Tang Feng gave him preferential treatment. If he is an ordinary person, he will be lazy. Unless there are mutant relatives, ordinary people who do not discriminate against mutants will not be hostile to staying in Atlantis. If it is an ordinary person, staying here, he will be hostile everywhere, like a group of swans mixed in a duck, very unsociable, very annoying. 927 In 3 days, my world conference will arrive. 35 Tang Feng stood by the window and watched for a while, then came back to his senses. withdrew his gaze and said to himself, "Everyone trusts him and feels that he can lead everyone to hope and there will be no more danger." Although they are a little worried about the upcoming World Conference, they all choose to believe that Tang Feng can handle everything. This made Tang Feng feel an invisible pressure, for fear of losing everyone's trust. He narrowed his eyes, stretched out a hand in front of him, and held it tightly. At this point, there was no chance of turning back. Even if he thought of the solution in advance, he couldn't guarantee that it would be what he wanted in the end. All the preparations that could be made had been made, and everything would be open 3 days later. During the waiting time, due to his busy schedule, Tang Feng only felt in a trance. 3 days had passed, and today was the start day of the World Conference. Magneto and the others temporarily put everything aside, gathered together, and looked at Tang Feng with expectant eyes. "Wang, this is the costume we designed for you. What do you think?" Linger took the lead, holding a set of costumes in both hands, followed by women such as Twinkle, Kin, White Queen, Black Queen, Shadow Cat, etc. This set of costumes everyone had their opinions. "Good, very pretty." Tang Feng took the clothes, spread them out, and nodded in satisfaction. The clothes are mainly dark black, with gold and red fringes matching. The overall look is biased towards the style of battle uniforms, but it does not lose its noble temperament. It is suitable for his identity. It is a little tight to wear, but it is very comfortable. In addition to the clothes, there is a pair of black combat shoes with gold thread pattern, plus a red cloak. The battle uniform, battle shoes, and cloak are definitely a set. This is a set of king battle uniforms designed by Linger and other women for Tang Feng. Tang Feng put on his battle uniform, and the more he looked in the mirror, the more satisfied he was. Linger and the other girls understood his mind. They knew that he did not like fancy clothes that were useless for battle, and they also knew that the process of the World Conference would not be peaceful. Very possible. Fighting is possible. Therefore, it is necessary to design a suit for Tang Feng to wear. "Wait, you are still missing this." Charles pushed his wheelchair, looked Tang Feng up and down, and handed him a pair of noble white gloves that he had prepared. Tang Feng took the command, put on white gloves, looked at everyone around him, and said, "Charles and the Black Queen stay behind. The rest of you will set off with me." With an order, no one objected and nodded in unison. Atlantis cannot be left behind. If the conversation is interrupted, or if someone is plotting to cause trouble, at least someone must stop it in time and wait for Tang Feng to return. Therefore, both Charles and the Black Queen stayed behind, and with the strength of the two of them, no one would easily destroy Atlantis. The rest, together with Tang Feng, passed through the portal and left. The Statue of Liberty stands on Liberty Island near the sea. This is where the World Conference began. The leaders of various countries have come, a jet, one after another, with serious expressions and some simple greetings, and are in no mood to talk. They had already negotiated before this, and they found their seats one by one and waited for Tang Feng to arrive. No matter what it is, there is no shortage of news reporters. All around, those reporters have set up cameras one by one to broadcast live. Everyone, fighter planes are approaching. Are those mutants coming? While everyone was waiting anxiously, someone noticed a fighter plane approaching at high altitude and shouted loudly. Hearing this voice, everyone looked at the sky and speculated. Roar tilde. The fighter plane hovered in the air and did not land, as if waiting for something. The leaders of various countries also received the news in advance, and they all chose to remain silent, their eyes looking forward. At this moment, the portal appeared in the front center of the meeting point without warning, under everyone's watchful eyes. Tang Feng walked out first, followed by Magneto Eric, who was also wearing a battle uniform, a cloak, and a helmet, followed by Scott, Wolverine, Oralo, a group of captains. Then, White Queen led Keen and others out, and then Blink led Lisa and others out. A group of mutants, standing behind Tang Feng, held their heads high and faced the leaders of various countries without warning. Fear. With a click, the fighter plane in the sky shook and the door opened, attracting everyone's attention. First, a figure with a shield jumped out of the fighter plane. Without any measures to land, he just fell directly. In the roar of the ordinary people, I saw that he hit the ground with the shield first, rolled a few times, and then fell. His strength was eliminated and he stood in front of Tang Feng. He is the captain of Country M who wears the captain's uniform. Immediately afterwards, Black Widow and Hawkeye, using their own means, knelt on one knee in a graceful and elegant manner, and fell to the captain's side. Scream! A golden red figure flew down and stood to the left of the captain. There was no doubt that it was the fucking Iron Man. Roar! A loud roar filled with anger sounded high in the sky, and I saw a green shadow falling straight down, violently smashing a big hole in the ground. Hulk stepped out as if nothing had happened. He looked at everyone angrily and wanted to hit anyone at any time, even the comrades in arms. The captain and the others were not calm, for fear that Hulk would not be able to control them, so instead of hitting Tang Feng first, he hit them first. Hulk, calm down and dare to make a fool of yourself again, I won't hit you or cry. A cold shout came from the sky. Captain Marvel, wearing a surprise suit, holding an orange cat, radiating energy all over his body, slowly flew down. Hulk shook his head irritably, looked at Captain Marvel in fear, did not dare to cause trouble, and stayed where he was. Honestly, Commander-in-Chief Nick Fury, through high-tech equipment, also landed at the same time and landed in front. The one-eyed man looks at Tang Feng very coldly. At this point, the Avengers are assembled. Chapter 130 The Uncontrollable Situation. God, I'm not mistaken, the man with the shield really does look like the captain of Country M. Yeah, it's too similar. Seeing that he fell from a great height just now, he had no means of injury. It wouldn't be the real captain, right? Who is that red-haired woman in black stockings? She's so sexy, she's worth dying to have sex with. Compared to that woman, another blonde woman with radiance all over her body, although not as pretty and sexy, but she looks very strong. She looks like she can fly. Is that man funny? With a bow and arrow on his back. His weapon is not a backward bow and arrow, right? My God, what kind of monster is that big green man? Look, he's scary. Who is that one-eyed dragon, qualified to stand at the forefront, as if he were the supreme leader? 5 No, that's Iron Man. Is he also under command? What kind of organization is this? With the appearance of the Avengers, the ordinary people who were watching from a distance made a loud noise and noise. If they hadn't stood far away, perhaps the scene of the World Conference would have turned into a vegetable market. The leaders of the countries chose to remain silent and let the Avengers and Tang Feng speak first. Today is the day when I interview various countries and hold a World Conference. Now you are standing in front of me and blocking my way. What are you trying to do? Tang Feng waved his right hand to stop the subordinate who was about to start beating behind him, squinting his eyes slightly, and asked, "We are Avengers, a special organization that belongs to S.H.I.E.L.D. The reason we're gathered together is that we all believe that we are responsible for defending against the unknown enemies of the universe, eliminating the forces of evil from the world, and maintaining world peace," Nick Fury exclaimed. Because he invited Tony to join, at his casual suggestion, it was eventually renamed S.H.I.E.L.D. It is none of my business to maintain world peace. Now I want to speak to the leaders of various countries. If you know each other, let me get out of the way. As soon as Tang Feng heard the words of safeguarding world peace, he felt hiccups in his heart, like eating a dead mouse, which made people lose their appetite, and he waved his hand impatiently. It's really unpredictable. In his previous life, he admired superheroes very much and had a great affection for the Avengers. Who would have thought that the Reborn became a mutant and was hostile to superheroes? The first mission the Avengers set was against him, not the evil god Loki. We can't get out of the way. 55 I have awakened from the freeze and understood the grievances between mutants and ordinary people. I sympathize with you mutants, and support you in building a country that belongs to mutants. 95 In my opinion, whether it is a mutant or an ordinary person, they are all members of the human race and should not be distinguished from each other as enemies. The captain stood up, held the shield, shouted righteously, looked at Tang Feng resolutely, and accused, "However, even if you want to get mutant out of trouble, you can't kill so many innocent lives. Let's not talk about it, let's just say that a month ago, you caused a huge wave and tsunami because you raised a continent. Although it calmed down for you, in the process, 3 cities have been destroyed and the death toll is as high as 110,000. You have done too much. After the captain finished speaking, he took a deep breath, gritted his teeth, and looked very angry. Tang Feng, thanks to your help, I have developed a weapon that can fight against you. I now have enough strength to stand in front of you and protest what you have done. Iron Man stood up, the mask opened, revealing Tony's appearance, and said confidently, "Pressure is power." The steel battlesuit he wears now has been upgraded several times. It already has the powerful functions of Iron Man 2, and it is more convenient to use, except that the energy of the arc reactor has not changed. In the new energy, other functions are much more powerful than the original Mark. Are you Tang Feng? I didn't expect a mutant as strong as you to appear in my hometown, but unfortunately you chose the wrong path. You did something wrong and killed so many people. No matter what the reason is, I can't let you go. Captain Marvel took a few steps forward holding the orange cat, looked at Tang Feng and scolded. So, this is your purpose, specifically against me? Tang Feng sneered, waved his hand back, and the red cape fluttered in the wind. Dare to stand up to stop him. No matter whether he is a superhero or not, fight him first. Just after he finished speaking, the captain silently raised his shield. Tony lowered his mask. All weapon systems were activated. Captain Marvel released the orange cat, let it fall to the side, and his entire body radiated energy, and the double star was activated for the first time. State: the combat power has greatly increased and has been upgraded to the level of 5th tier power. 0. Ask for flowers. She didn't dare to be careless with Tang Feng, who was also a 5th tier power. Her keen perception also sensed a fatal threat from Tang Feng. Wait, you guys. Nick Fury was startled and was about to fight. Unlike the original plan, his original intention was to keep things under control, so that Tang Feng would not be arrogant with his strength. Tang Feng wants to discuss anything with other countries and does not intend to intervene. If it can be resolved peacefully in the end, they will come to the show. If the talks fail, it is time for them to intervene. So, without knowing the outcome of the meeting, Fury did not think from the beginning that he would do it first. However, even though he is the commander-in-chief, he really does not have much prestige for the captain and the others, and he will not follow orders wholeheartedly, and will only do things according to the thoughts in his heart. The captain is righteous and can't tolerate Tang Feng's disregard for human life. Iron Man is arrogant. What Tang Feng has done before has always made him worried and afraid. Helping him see the future is like giving alms from above. Therefore, he has long disliked Tang Feng, and he has an iron battlesuit. He has long wanted to compete with Tang Feng. As for Captain Marvel, she has been in the entire universe for so many years, has executed justice, and has saved countless lives. She has already understood a truth. She can't be lenient in the face of the enemy. Say it again. Every superhero has a personal opinion. Nick Fury can't convince everyone at all. He has been in a high position for too long and thinks too highly of himself. Therefore, facing Tang Feng's cold eyes and cold words, the captain, Iron Man, Captain Marvel did not show weakness, but turned around, and the dignified scene was about to erupt. Roar! Hulk couldn't stand the atmosphere of the scene at first, and was impatient to wait because he was afraid of Captain Marvel. Chapter 131. With one move, the weak chicken comes out. Boom! Tang Feng snorted coldly, and without raising his head, he raised a hand, and the powerful disaster force rushed out, quickly condensed and formed into a large disaster force palm, and violently grabbed Hulk. Hoo! Hulk kept roaring in the air, kicking his legs and struggling, trying to disintegrate the calamity palm. At the same time, he could feel that the tough epidermis on his body was constantly being corroded by the calamity, bringing him unbearable piercing pain. At this moment, more than a dozen small missiles flew towards the calamity palm, trying to rescue Hulk, but who knew that there was only a muffled sound. The missile became a failure and was destroyed as soon as it touched the calamity palm, and even the explosion did not. This time Tony was embarrassed. His face was ugly, but fortunately there was a mask to cover it. He was furious and ordered Jarvis, "Turn on the maximum energy value and fire." Jarvis carried out the order, gathering all the energy in the arc reactor of the 9727 in the former Moon Hungarian center of the steel battlesuit and fired a single beam light cannon at the Calamity Palm. With a bang, this attack finally hit an impact on the Calamity Palm, and the shape changed, and then Hulk violently exerted force, pulling his hands to the sides, disintegrating the Calamity Palm and falling to the ground. You want to provoke me with this crude steel battlesuit? Ridiculous. Tang Feng didn't care about Hulk breaking free. He turned his head to look at Tony, waved his hand down. Those disintegrating disaster forces didn't disappear, but rolled towards Tony. Jarvis, calculate the best escape route. Tony was shocked, lowered his hands and scattered flames, flying nimbly to avoid the disaster. However, his reflexes and Jarvis's calculations were no match for Tang Feng's reflexes. With just a thought, the Calamity could quickly fly in all directions, and a massive Calamity flew towards Tony's dodge route, about to hit him. Just at a critical moment, a shield appeared and the captain stepped forward, holding the shield to disperse the disaster and rescue Tony. Tony breathed a sigh of relief, arrogant as he was, and thanked the captain in a low voice. As expected of the captain's shield, it is indeed very tough, but you can resist a few times with the shield. Tang Feng noticed that the shield, the Calamity blocking sword, had only a dozen millimeters of wear on the surface. He couldn't help but sigh, and then he spread out his palms, and the source of Calamity poured out constantly, like hellfire. Everyone, be careful, his power is very dangerous. I will deal with him. You are responsible for blocking other people. Captain Marvel shouted with a dignified face. She knew how strong the power of the 5th level was. Among the Avengers members, she was the only one who could fight Tang Feng, and the others would only die in vain against Tang Feng. Even Hulk would not be able to fight Tang Feng for a few rounds if he did not use rage to increase his power to level 5. Captain Marvel knew of Hulk's situation and beat him with the power of level 5. Knowing that Hulk was born, he was just a baby, not mature enough to grow up, which made him furious, and it was difficult to raise his power to level 5. So after thinking about it, she was alone to deal with Tang Feng, and the others did not need to hold back. Captain Marvel launched an attack at a very fast speed. With her feet off the ground, she protected her body with energy and slammed into Tang Feng. Everyone's eyes flashed before hearing the words. Captain Marvel's body was in a state of shock, and they saw Tang Feng being knocked out, faster than sound. Okay, you have the power of level 5, and you are also qualified to fight me. Although Tang Feng was hit and flew out, he was protected by the Calamity and was not injured. He looked at Captain Marvel, his eyes burning with fighting spirit. Woody was too lonely, and it was somewhat happy to have an opponent. Anyway, he can't die. He is not afraid of strong opponents, but he is afraid of opponents being vulnerable. You don't have to act, just back off and I will do it alone. Except for her, I don't care about anyone else at all. Natural disaster. The center of the earth changes. Tang Feng followed the direction of flying backwards, suspended in the air in the distance. His hands were wide open, and he hugged it in front of him. The powerful gravitational force of the planet was under his control, surrounding Captain Marvel, as if she was frozen in amber. The mosquitoes made her unable to move for a while. Not only that, but the power of the aftermath of gravity also extended to the Avengers and others, pressing everyone to the ground in an instant. Only Hulk, with his strong physical fitness, stood on the spot and roared at Tang Feng, and he effortlessly resisted. However, only Hulk can survive. Tony and the others have vomited blood again and again, and their bodies and internal organs have been oppressed by gravity and damaged. Sir, the shield's energy has been depleted to 50% and can only last for 1 more minute. Under the mask, Tony vomited a few mouthfuls of blood and said with a faint smile, "In my current situation, I will be crushed to death by gravity before the energy is exhausted." The energy shield, using the energy of the infinite cube, and with the help of Captain Marvel, finally turned a very dangerous cube energy into a shield. This is Tony thinking that the steel battlesuit is made of metal and will not be able to fight back when it encounters Magneto Eric's magnetic field control, so he thought of using a protective cover to temporarily shield the magnetic field, so that Magneto can be ignored in a short time. Eric's restraint. Unexpectedly, The expected means of fighting the enemy, before Magneto Eric, was suppressed by Tang Feng. If there is no protective cover to offset most of the gravitational force, with his fragile body, it is only possible that his internal organs will be crushed immediately and he will die on the spot. Not only is Tony facing death, but the captain and the others are also the same. Although the body is very strong, but without a protective shield, under the pressure of gravity, they can't outlast Tony. "You stop me." Captain Marvel encountered the dangerous situation of everyone, became angry, burst out energy, broke free from gravity immediately, pushed his hands forward, the energy combined, and released an energy shock wave. Tang Feng stretched out his hand, also condensed the calamity and sent out a shock wave, which crashed towards the past. Under the distraction, the calamity stopped using it. After all, he didn't want to destroy the Avengers completely. Tony and the others were injured in their internal organs and temporarily lost their ability to fight back, so he didn't pay attention to them. Boom! The energy shockwave and the disaster shockwave collide in the air at a height of 4.7, like a pair of waves. The two are evenly matched, cancel each other out, and eventually both dissipate. The invisible patterns of shockwave that collided spread in all directions, frightening the leaders of various countries as well as the ordinary people. Their bodies were dragged to the ground, and the duo came one after another. Magneto and the others did not panic, and with their own strength, they stood firmly in place. "Only you two are left. Next, we are going to beat you." The big green guy, 5 Tang Feng whispered softly, looked at Hulk and smiled sternly. "What Avengers? Today is the day he speaks to various countries. No one can stop him. In the eyes of the whole world, with the power of one person, he simply defeats all the superheroes. Until then, let's see who else dares to resist him." Chapter 132 Captain Marvel meets the meteorite. "Bastard, go to hell." Just before Tang Feng was staring at Hulk, Captain Marvel Carol attacked again before he could make a move. In the dual star state, the energy is at level 5. Originally there are super speed, super strength, super endurance, super response, super defense, flight, and a certain prediction ability, and can survive in the universe. It is simply an upgraded version of the female Superman. Moreover, she can control energy, suck it in and release it, just like black holes and white holes. In the use of energy, it is undoubtedly very strong. Even magic power can be absorbed. At this point, she is stronger than Superman and does not have the weakness of Superman. In fact, because of the use of energy, the characteristics of black holes and white holes can be simulated. She also understands the principles of gravity under the action of gravity and can use them. However, before Tang Feng can use the powerful force of gravity of the planet, she will not be ugly. Faster than Quicksilver, like the speed of light, time seemed to stop. Captain Marvel flew to the top of 09 Tang Feng, pushed down with one hand. The powerful energy that emitted light was condensing, and the explosive power was comparable to 10,000 tons of TNT, nuclear explosion. Moreover, it was an explosion concentrated in an instant. Under Captain Marvel's control, the power of the explosion was perfectly concentrated around Tang Feng and did not affect the area below 1,000 meters. That is to say, with the assurance that the innocent will not be harmed, Captain Marvel dares to shoot with all his strength. The natural disaster was chaotic for a while. Tang Feng was not chaotic in the face of danger. When he pointed, the chaotic power of time was used. As the ripples of the invisible spread, it was like ripples on the surface of a calm lake. The energy that was about to explode, as if it were the reversal of time, quickly spread out from the explosion. It converged towards the center and then completely dissipated, as if it had never appeared. "It's the power of time." Captain Marvel looked at Tang Feng in disbelief. Her vigilance increased again. It was gravity, but also the power of time. Originally there was such a strong calamity energy. He was indeed a formidable opponent, one of the strongest below the true god. She has seen the true god, the Insect King, who has been trapped and tortured, and has been blessed by misfortune. She has a double star state and her power reaches the 5th level. It is for this reason that the Annihilation Zerg is chasing her. If the Zerg King is not busy with other things, he may have to act himself, and she will not let her escape. In order to restrain her distracting thoughts, She took a deep breath, focused on the battle, and shouted. In the double star state, her body seemed to turn into a black hole, and all the surrounding energy was absorbed. Even the sun's rays were no exception. She is like the center of the world, all the light is concentrated on her. Then she leans down, swings her fist towards Tang Feng. His waist, he dives down. The speed is infinitely close to the speed of light. In an instant, the world freezes, loses its color, and comes to Tang Feng. His face was startled, and he noticed that Tang Feng's eyes were following his figure. In Tang Feng's God's perspective, although he is not as fast as Captain Marvel, he can still predict his next attack. Disaster War. First, using the power of war, the war field covers the surrounding area of 1,000 meters, enhancing his power, improving all aspects of ability, and reducing all of Captain Marvel's abilities, like a negative halo. In this case, Captain Marvel's fist on Tang Feng was stagnant, and there was a flaw. Tang Feng's eyes flickered, and he used time confusion again. In terms of speed, there is nothing faster than time. Boom. A figure was knocked down from a distance, and from there, he flew there. There was a fist mark on Captain Marvel's face, and the calamity was attached to it and corroded. She was shocked. She didn't expect that the blow she would deliver would be unexpected. It was not her who hit her, but Tang Feng's counterattack that hit her. Under her concept of time, there is no impression at all of Tang Feng's shot. Thinking of this, her eyes tightened, thinking of the power of time that Tang Feng used before, and she already understood what was going on. A violent burst of energy, the body flipped over and both hands pushed back, stabilizing the momentum backwards, and she wiped her hit face with her hands. The energy made up for the disaster, and quickly recovered the wound on her face. Damn it, come again. Captain Marvel let out a loud roar, and saw that the light on her body was becoming more and more dazzling, like the sun shining, so that the people below avoided her eyes and did not dare to look directly, for fear of blinding their eyes. This is her white hole state, which can burst out all the energy at once, breaking through the maximum energy value. Tang Feng was shocked and noticed that the negative effects brought to him by the war realm were no longer effective. Interesting, he smiled, not too surprised. He knew very well that the negative halo of war was just an accompanying ability. The real power of war was to draw the power of those who were killed. This was a natural disaster war. A natural disaster hits a planet. Tang Feng turned a blind eye to Captain Marvel's gesture of attacking again, raised a hand and slapped it out. Captain Marvel jumped in his heart and suddenly saw the scene of the meteorite falling, which was a foreknowledge ability. He hurriedly stopped the momentum, looked up. His face was stunned, his eyes widened. Under the astonishing sight, outside the planet, a huge fireball appeared, breaking through the atmosphere and falling directly here. This is not a huge fireball, but a meteorite, with a diameter of 100 meters. This volume is only reduced by the abrasion of the atmosphere and the consumption of flames. Before approaching the planet, meteorite 927 will only get bigger. Because of the distance, no one on the scene discovered it, only she discovered it ahead of time with her predictive ability. You're crazy. Captain Marvel shouted in a panic, glanced at the crowd below, and then looked at Tang Feng, gritting his teeth, looking like he couldn't wait to eat him. Crazy? No, I'm not crazy. You're a superhero. I'm not. So what are you going to do? Are you going to defeat Meteor, or are you just going to ignore it and continue to fight me? 35 Or come and save the big green guy first. Tang Feng flew towards Hulk with a smile on his face, and Captain Marvel was very angry at that awkward look. He didn't even think about it. He rushed into the sky, intending to defeat the meteorite first. As for Hulk, he can only ask for more. Roar! Hulk was originally watching a play on the ground, but he couldn't fly. What could he do? Coupled with the situation of the fight between Captain Marvel and Tang Feng, it was too fast. It seemed like they fought for several rounds, but in fact it only took less than a minute. Before he could understand what was going on, he noticed that Captain Marvel was flying and Tang Feng was flying towards him. In this regard, Hulk panicked. He did not forget the power of Captain Marvel. Tang Feng can play on par with Captain Marvel, and he can't deal with it either. Hulk yelled and cheered up. His anger suppressed his fear and greeted Tang Feng. Chapter 133 The Only Hope is Hanging. HMPH. Feudal Resistance. Tang Feng sneered and opened the portal. The figure disappeared in front of Hulk. At the same time, he appeared behind him. His hands were eagle claws, unable to move. Fly to me. 39 Just listening to Tang Feng's screams, the calamity combined with the original power, made him violently throw Hulk away, flew directly out of Freedom Island and arrived at the seashore. Disaster. Great flood. As Tang Feng pressed down with one hand, the entire boundless sea oiled, like the rage of the sea god, and suddenly a huge tsunami of waves was set off, which was even more terrifying than the tsunami last month. The huge waves and tsunamis that soared and reached thousands of meters, obscuring the terrifying scene, were like a prehistoric beast, opening its huge deep mouth and swallowing Hulk's figure. Hulk's body, like a small black spot, was swallowed into the sea by the tsunami, and in an instant there was no movement, and he didn't know whether it was life or death. Boom! The tsunami pressed Hulk to the bottom of the sea, and he didn't know where he went. The aftermath of the tsunami rushed directly to Freedom Island. Waves splashed, and heavy rain fell out of nowhere, drenching everyone on the spot. The leaders of various countries wiped the sea water from their faces with their hands, swallowed with difficulty. Their hearts were cold to the bone, and they were all stunned by Tang Feng's power. Unlike the live broadcast, they have now seen it with their own eyes. It is so exciting that the heart can't bear it. Compared to them, the other ordinary people were already in a panic, screaming despite their blunders in trying to escape from Freedom Island. They were all frightened. The situation at the venue was broadcast live through various cameras to various TV channels, including various live broadcast platforms, so everyone was worried about the progress of the World Conference, and everyone who watched it lost their voices. They saw the appearance of the superhero, suspected to be the resurrection of Captain M, which made them very excited. The appearance of Iron Man greatly increased their confidence, and the rest of the heroes also gave them confidence. Even the terrifying appearance of Hulk makes them look very friendly, as long as they dare to confront Tang Feng. They are his superhero. As a result, they were defeated by Tang Feng in an orderly manner, leaving only the brilliant Captain Marvel who could fight Tang Feng. By the way, where is Captain Marvel? Where is she? Thinking of this question, everyone finally recovered from the huge waves and tsunamis, looked up instinctively, opened their mouths in fear, and fell to the ground in horror. There were also professional reporters at the scene. When he turned the camera to the sky, he also let the people watching the live broadcast discover the situation in the sky. A huge fireball fell, breaking through the atmosphere, 5,000 meters away, and a radiant figure stopped below the meteorite to meet the meteorite. That was Captain Marvel Carol. Damn it, Tilda. The captain lay on the ground, constantly hitting the ground, and threw shield aside, hating his own helplessness. We can only pray. 35 The Black Widow lay on her back. The severe pain in her body made her unwilling to move. She looked at the falling meteorite and said with a wry smile, "He must be able to crush the meteorite, protect us, and then defeat Tang Feng, just like many years ago. He can defeat the Kree People's fleet." Nick Fury held back the unbearable pain, ignoring the fact that fighting would make the trauma on his body worse, and sat up with a bloody mouth, clenching his teeth firmly. "I feel like we are the Joker circus. We came out aggressively and then knocked Tang Feng down. What is this? At the end of the day, you have to put your hope in a woman." Tony muttered to himself with dazed eyes. He took a huge blow, and in the end, he laughed miserably and laughed sadly. "She is not a simple woman. She is Captain Marvel, my greatest trump card and the hope of the planet." Nick Fury grabbed the ground tightly with his hands and growled. The situation was so bad that he almost collapsed, leaving Captain Marvel alone. "If she loses too, I don't know what Tang Feng will do, and I don't know what the future of the world will be like." In Nick Fury's state of mind, it was inevitable that he would lose his usual calm. "Here we go." Hawkeye, who had been silent, said in a low voice. He looked at Captain Marvel's figure in front of the meteorite, and a beautiful picture appeared in his mind, and he didn't know if he could survive and see her again. Like everyone else, Tang Feng also looked at Captain Marvel and had no intention of interfering. He just wanted Meteorite to hold Captain Marvel so that he could deal with Hulk, but he never did. He thought about killing everyone on the spot. He interviewed the leaders of various countries, just to solve the mutant problem, not to go to war. I knew you were going to defeat Meteorite. This is a superhero. Tang Feng sighed inexplicably. He once admired superheroes and longed to become a superhero. The world is messing with people, and he has become the evil villain that superheroes have to deal with. Boom. A sound like an earth-shaking sound was transmitted from a high altitude and far away. It was even more astonishing than the scene of a nuclear bomb exploding. The 100-meter-wide meteorite shattered under the impact of Captain Marvel. Moreover, Captain Marvel first used the black hole state to draw a strong gravitational force to bind all the meteorite fragments together. Immediately afterwards, he raised his head and shouted, turning into a white hole state, and the energy exploded out, as if it were a supernova explosion, clearing all the meteorite fragments at once. The dazzling light came from above, causing the people below to close their eyes. When they opened their eyes, they were pleasantly surprised to see that the threat of meteorites had completely disappeared. There is no doubt that everyone was saved, and it was Captain Marvel who saved them, and the excitement of the rest of their lives made them all shout for roar. The people who have always been concerned about watching the live broadcast also cheered for roar happily. The superhero defeated the meteorite and saved mankind. However, before they were happy for long, they saw their heroine being hanged and beaten by Tang Feng. Back at the scene, Tang Feng was not surprised by Captain Marvel's performance. The power of level 5 is really not something a meteorite can compete with. He didn't take advantage of the danger and waited until Captain Marvel defeated the meteorite before shooting again. Natural disasters. The center of the Earth shifts poles. Calamity. Order collapsed. Natural disaster is a super plague. As soon as Tang Feng made his move, he used 3 kinds of natural disaster powers in succession. First, the gravitational force of the center of the Earth changed, and suddenly a strong gravitational force erupted, squeezing Captain Marvel's body fiercely, breaking through her energy defense all at once, ignoring the defense on the surface of her body, hurting her viscera. Then, gravity made her temporarily unable to move and she fell directly. Then order collapses. Reality is reversed. Captain Marvel's power must be erased, even her existence must be erased, and her thoughts must be reversed. I saw Captain Marvel's face twisted, ugly, hissing and screaming, rising up to resist the power of the collapse of order. At the same time, she felt a destructive force, like a plague, invaded her body and wanted to kill every cell in her body. She gritted her teeth tightly and could only distract herself to use energy to suppress the power of the super plague. When she was busy dealing with the problems in her body and distracted, Tang Feng had already flown up, and 2 fists kept hitting her, treating her as a sandbag. What the people below saw was that in the air, Tang Feng kept hitting Captain Marvel, and they also heard Captain Marvel's unbearable scream. Chapter 134, The Sky is Broken. In fact, with Captain Marvel's double star state, the power that bursts out will ensure victory against any powerful level 5 enemy. Because her double star state is too tricky, even Thanos, who has been in the universe for many years, would not have defeated her without borrowing the power of multiple infinity gems. Captain Marvel's black hole state can absorb any energy. It will only become stronger and stronger, and it is a very tricky ability. The white hole explosive state will allow her to surpass her own energy beyond the peak and reach the power of a god. However, it was different for Tang Feng. Tang Feng's natural disaster power, which involves fate, is more tricky than Captain Marvel's. He knew that Captain Marvel would absorb energy, so he did not use Solar Storm. Instead, he used gravity, plague, and inverted reality, these difficult to absorb natural disaster forces. Sure enough, his battle plan was correct. Even if the 3 forces of natural disasters were not fully utilized, they would suppress Captain Marvel in one go, leaving her busy defending against the 3 forces of natural disasters against him. Then, Captain Marvel was hanged by Tang Feng. Boom. After hanging Captain Marvel for a few minutes, Tang Feng crossed his hands and rushed to the top of Captain Marvel, using all his strength, plus his calamity, to mercilessly hit Captain Marvel on the back of the head. knocking her to the ground. Captain Marvel screamed, spraying a mist of blood from her mouth, and fell down involuntarily, scratching herself from the front of the Statue of Liberty, smashing the hard ground into a big hole. After that, Tang Feng floated down, suspended above the big pit, wrapped his arms around her arms, and looked around in a spirited manner. He looked like a complete villain. For a time, the scene fell into a deathly silence. Everyone first looked at the big pit, then looked at Tang Feng, bowed their heads in fear, and did not dare to look directly at Tang Feng. Only the Avengers and the others looked at Tang Feng unwillingly, gritting their teeth. Magneto and the others held their heads high, proud of Tang Feng's performance. Even Magneto Eric himself was afraid of Captain Marvel's power, but fortunately Tang Feng was stronger, otherwise they would be in danger. He thought that he could not compare to Tang Feng, and with his 4th level strength, few people could beat him. Unexpectedly, not only Hulk can threaten him, but Captain Marvel crushes him even more. After this incident, he understood a truth. Tang Feng is Optimus Prime of Mutant, an indispensable king. Meow meow meow. A cat meow sounded, Gugu's hair exploded, and the cat's teeth were exposed. Standing at the edge of the pit, a jet, making a feeding action, and stared at Tang Feng with hostility. Gugu was protecting Captain Marvel, and when he came out, if Tang Feng wanted to take the opportunity to attack, even if he couldn't beat him, he would still pounce on him. Huh? Origin devouring beast. Tang Feng looked at Gugu disapprovingly, snapped his finger, and a destructive force rushed towards him. With a cat-like meow, he opened his mouth, and countless tentacles and teeth stretched out. This contrasting scene was very shocking. He swallowed the calamity, and the cat's face only showed a difficult-to-swallow expression, but he could still endure it. Immediately afterwards, more and more tentacles rolled towards Tang Feng, trying to swallow him. Your fate is to be a cat, return me to the original cat. 35 Tang Feng clasped his hands together and said with a sneer. He used order collapse to reverse reality and suddenly turned Gugu into a real cat. The tentacles disappeared, and the original cat's mouth was restored. Meow, meow, meow meow. Gugu kept barking. The cat's face was stunned, jumping up, opening the cat's mouth, and no longer had tentacles protruding. No longer a primordial beast, but a cat that was stronger than ordinary cats. You stop me, don't hurt Gugu. A loud shout came from the bottom of the well. Captain Marvel broke through the ground and flew out from the bottom of the well, standing guard in front of Gugu, half kneeling on the ground, blood oozing from the corner of his mouth, wounds on his body, and looking very embarrassed. Without Tang Feng's interference, he finally eliminated the power of the 3 natural disasters at the bottom of the well. The consequence was that the energy was greatly depleted, the strength was greatly reduced, and even the recovery of the injuries on his body was slowed down. It's just a cat, I'm not in the mood to bully it, it's almost the same as bullying you. Tang Feng flew in front of Captain Marvel, with both feet on the ground, with a lofty attitude. He waved a hand, and the calamity rolled towards his body and rolled it away. Ah, 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 ah. Captain Marvel couldn't break free from the shackles of the calamity for a while. His body was constantly corroded by the calamity, the pain was unbearable, and he let out a tragic cry. Gugu's spirituality is not lost. Even if he loses his strength, he can't stand Tang Feng bullying Captain Marvel like this. Go away. Tang Feng kicked and kicked Gugu away, severely injuring him, leaving him lying on the ground, screaming and unable to stand up again. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Captain Marvel saw this and couldn't do anything. He held back the pain and continued screaming roar. It's so disgusting, such a cute cat, how can it be so cruel? There were cat lovers at the scene whispering to Roar, and the people next to her looked at her speechlessly. The cat that was driven away became a monster before, can't you see it? The most important thing is that no matter if the cat dies, their only hope, the heroine, is at stake. The ordinary people at the scene were very heartbroken, and the people watching the live broadcast were also very worried. They put their hands together, kept praying, and shouted for God's blessing. It's useless to shout to God. Captain Fantastic is still shouting. Some parts of his body have been corroded by the calamity, and his bones are about to corrode. His face has been torn in half, Very ugly. So brave. Dare to absorb my calamity. You are really not afraid of death. Tang Feng's face was stunned. He wanted to torture Captain Marvel again, defeat everyone's luck, and let them see the cruel reality. It was unbeatable. What surprised him was that he was keenly aware of the calamity constantly disappearing. After taking a closer look, he was shocked to find that Captain Marvel used the black hole state to absorb the calamity. He laughed angrily. Calamity is a destructive force mixed with the power of destiny. It is also a 5th-tier level. Even if Captain Marvel can absorb all the energy, it is not easy to absorb the calamity. It is very likely to be difficult to digest, completely destroyed by the catastrophe. HMPH. Whether you can absorb success in the end or not, I won't be stupid enough to give you this opportunity. Tang Feng snorted coldly, knowing that the big villain's words would be reversed by the wind. He withdrew his calamity and prevented Captain Marvel from absorbing it. Then he glared fiercely, grabbed her neck with one hand, and threw her into his sky. Time to end this farce with thunder. Natural disaster, tornado of destruction. At first, a breeze appeared, and suddenly, it turned into a tornado. The wind became stronger and stronger, and Captain Marvel was swept up and flew into the sky. From a distance, it looks like a 10,000-meter dragon, holding Captain Marvel, about to fly away from the planet. A natural disaster hits a planet. It's not over yet. A small planet with a diameter of 1 kilometer broke through the atmosphere and fell down. The world-destroying tornado dragged Captain Marvel up, and the small planet fell down, and finally met in the atmosphere. The two collided fiercely, and Captain Marvel was caught in the middle. And then, the sky broke apart. Chapter 135 The so-called superhero. The forces of the two natural disasters met and collided in the atmosphere, and the destructive power that erupted in an instant was like the explosion of hundreds of millions of tons of TNT nuclear bombs, and the powerful one could pierce the atmosphere. People standing on the same side of the planet, looking up from the Earth, could see with horror that a deep hole appeared in the sky, leading to the outside of the universe, just like the sky in mythology has been torn open, making people desperate. Although the damaged atmosphere is only within a range of 1 kilometer, compared to the entire planet, it is only insignificant damage and will automatically recover soon, just like when a meteorite falls and a rocket passes through the atmosphere into the universe. It also passes through the atmosphere and will still recover. It's just that the degree of damage is different. The damage to the atmosphere caused by meteorites and rockets is like a drop of water falling into a calm lake, and a small ripple will soon disappear. This time, the atmosphere was torn open. It was like a huge rock crashing into the lake, and the impact did not disappear for a long time. As the atmosphere was torn open, intense ultraviolet rays and various cosmic rays brushed against the planet, like a powerful river of energy. This was what Tang Feng saw. If it were an ordinary person, he would only see a colorful light penetrating the atmosphere and shooting straight out. Warning! Warning! All kinds of cosmic rays are coming in through the broken atmosphere. Please find a place to hide now. 35 Jarvis issued an urgent warning. It's over. It's over. 35 Tony muttered to himself in despair, ignoring Jarvis's warning. It's over, even you are defeated. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have called you back and hurt you. Nick Fury's painful self-blame, a tear in one eye, a rare gaffe. I didn't expect to die in battle as soon as I woke up. I'm sorry, I was going to see you after this incident, but I didn't expect that there was no chance. The captain gave a decadent wry smile inside in resignation. It's okay to die like this, I've lived enough for so many years. The Black Widow lowered her eyebrows and smiled grimly. She was very tired. As a female agent of the Red House, she was covered in blood and killed countless people, but her heart longed for the light. Because of this, a chance for her to break free from the control of the Red House, accept Nick Fury's invitation to join S.H.I.E.L.D., and change from a villain to a superhero. Even so, she felt guilty and blamed herself in her heart, so she had no choice but to go on missions to save lives one by one, which made her heart feel better. This way of living, being strong, she also feels tired, and perhaps sleeping like this forever is a good thing she can't ask for. Unlike Black Widow's idea, Hawkeye opened his eyes wide and gritted his teeth unwillingly. He didn't want to die like this, and his girlfriend was waiting for him to come back and share a candlelit dinner. Ah, 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 ah. Hawkeye yelled unwillingly, and the ordinary people at the scene did the same. They ran in panic and kept screaming. With their knowledge, they definitely knew that when the cosmic rays came, their bodies would be injured and they would die. There are always some people who can face death calmly. After a few seconds, the panicked person wondered, why has the body not changed yet? Could it be? Looking up one by one, they were shocked to see a dazzling sun in the broken atmosphere, and the colorful cosmic rays converged on it, saving them. That is, Captain Marvel, who survived 2 natural disasters and persisted to save the world. Great, you're okay. 99 Nick Fury couldn't help but roar. His excitement made him cough up blood and he didn't care. Tony opened the mask and looked at the sun in a daze, with an indescribable taste. The Captain, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and the seriously injured Orange Cat all focused their attention on Captain Marvel. They were very moved and inspired by her. Even she hasn't given up. How could they just give up? Come on, Black Widow whispered to herself, suddenly not wanting to die. For Captain Marvel's tenacious performance, even Magneto and others admired them and watched them silently. Their original intention is not to want to be the villain who destroys the world, and everything they do is just to make mutants survive. From Captain Marvel, he seems to see his own beliefs. Tang Feng was silent, shaking his head without saying a word, and when everyone was attracted by Captain Marvel, he went straight to the sky without realizing it. In the atmosphere, the sun has gathered all the cosmic rays, and then passed through the black hole state, involving gravitational force, and is accelerating the recovery of the broken atmosphere. Seeing that half of the recovery was completed, suddenly, the light of the sun disappeared, everything returned to its original trajectory, and the cosmic rays erupted again, sweeping the planet again. No, 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 no. The ordinary people below screamed madly, originally desperate, but Captain Marvel brought hope of life, but disappeared again, and despair returned. 0. Ask for flowers. One by one, they are going crazy and having a nervous breakdown. After analysis, Captain Marvel may have been too injured to hold on, Jarvis said calmly. That's enough, you've done well. Tony closed his eyes and said calmly. Nick Fury, Captain, Black Widow, Hawkeye and others also agreed. Wait a moment, sir, something happened. Tang Feng took action and the planet's crisis has been resolved. Suddenly, Jarvis said again. Tony opened his eyes in surprise and looked up at the sky, his face stunned, seeing that the atmosphere had returned to normal, and all kinds of colorful cosmic rays had completely disappeared. Everything disappeared without a trace and returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. It never happened. 0 calamity. Order collapsed. Tang Feng reversed reality, the reality that the atmosphere was broken, and the reality that cosmic rays were shining, so that everything returned to the way the atmosphere was not broken. What a tough opponent. Tang Feng thought to himself, holding the dazed Captain Marvel in a princess stance, and slowly flew down from the sky. The people at the scene looked at Tang Feng in shock, wondering what he was doing. He was destroying the world, saving the world, and the villain who abused the superhero. What was he trying to do? Mock them. Don't look at me that way. I came here today just to talk to various countries about mutants and ordinary people, not to destroy the world. She's not dead yet, but she was injured too badly and didn't take the time to recover from her injuries. She was busy saving the world and repairing the atmosphere, so she couldn't hold on any longer and became dizzy. Tang Feng hugged Captain Marvel, put him in front of Tony and the others, calmly explained, then put his hands on his hips. The red cape fluttered in the wind, and said loudly, "Okay, after dragging myself along for so long, now, I can finally. The World Conference has begun. Please take your seats. I declare that the World Conference officially begins." The world was silent, only Tang Feng's voice, only Tang Feng's existence. At this moment, he is the center of the world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136. The meeting ended perfectly. We mutants and you ordinary people are not two races, we are the same race. Just that some people have mutated genes, that's why they are mutants. Mutants are like the elite of humans, geniuses. Some people are born with extraordinary talents. Either they have a developed brain and a very good memory, or they are naturally cold and hard to move, or they have strong intuition and can quickly rely on guesswork. Guess the answer. It can also be said that the people mentioned above are different, but you don't discriminate against them, but rather revere and admire them. It's different for mutants. You are afraid, and it is wrong to establish the mutant law to supervise and exert control over us, the same human beings. You can't treat them separately because mutants have a strange ability. The mutant law you established is very unreasonable. I protest this. You must cancel the mutant law. We, mutants, have established a country called Atlantis. The New World is also called Atlantis, and the city we are building is called Calamity City. Shouldn't you have objections? Also, our foreign trade and economic development after Asia 09 Atlantis, your country cannot deliberately resist. This is a very immoral thing. I hope you don't do it. If a mutant breaks the law, we will deal with it according to the law. Your countries may implement seizures. Please do not execute privately. This is a dispute between countries. Please deal with it carefully. I have a proposal. Mutants are relatively rare in number relative to the entire human race, and should be given various preferential treatment, such as, in the universe, there are all kinds of unknown enemies. Although they haven't appeared yet, it doesn't mean they don't exist. You've also seen the woman who fought with me before. She is Captain Marvel Carol Denver. Yes, a person from our planet. Due to an accident, half of the Kree bloodline has been floating in the universe and encountered many aliens. 35. There are powerful individual powers, alien races with powerful technology, many, who can easily destroy the Earth, exterminate human beings, and destroy our civilization. If we want to resist the invasion of alien civilization, only by vigorously developing technology, protecting the healthy growth of every mutant, and increasing the number of mutants, will we have enough strength to protect ourselves. Please note that mutants belong to human beings. If there are more mutants, the power of human beings will increase and we will be able to resist the invasion of alien civilizations. It's not a relationship of mutual enemies. Next, what I'm going to say is, the restarted World Conference, under the leadership of Tang Feng, ended smoothly and perfectly. During the live broadcast, under the eyes of the whole world, one thing that Tang Feng proposed was approved by the leaders of various countries. Even if there are one or two different opinions, it is irrelevant and will not affect the overall situation. Under the witness of the whole world, the nation of Atlantis was formally established, and the conflict between mutant and ordinary people was also resolved. Since then, there must be no discrimination or targeting. This has been written into a fair law, and all countries will definitely nod their heads in agreement. Even if someone expresses disagreement or has a different opinion, it is a racial distinction. Like racial discrimination, it is a contradiction that belongs to human beings. Everything is judged according to the law, and ordinary people can no longer arbitrarily harm mutant, nor can they deliberately discriminate. The World Conference continued quickly. The day began and the day ended. Many people did not recover from Tang Feng's defeat of the Avengers. In a trance, they saw that the live broadcast had ended and the world had undergone major changes. Satisfied, Tang Feng took Magneto and the others and left through the portal. The leaders of various countries on the scene gave a bitter and helpless smile, sighed, and left. From the beginning to the end, everyone was controlled by Tang Feng. They walked involuntarily and were about to become puppets who would only nod their heads in agreement. There was no way. Tang Feng had already demonstrated his great power, deterring everyone and defeating their only hope, the Avengers and others, in a simple and orderly manner. The crisis of the opening atmosphere has left them with lingering fears, and their emotions have not subsided for a long time. If you don't want war, you can only choose a peaceful solution. Anyone who can be a leader is not an idiot. Tang Feng is not only strong, but also has the ability to teleport in space. Even all kinds of powerful nuclear weapons can't help him. If you want to deal with Tang Feng, you can only beat him with a superhero. So far, no superhero is his opponent. Even Captain Marvel, who was beyond their expectations, was not an opponent, and he was suppressed and beaten to the end. Therefore, in the face of such a strong Tang Feng, they could only compromise. Fortunately, Tang Feng did not go too far. He just won preferential treatment for mutant. If Tang Feng wants mutant to become the royal family of human beings, he regards ordinary people as inferior and wants to be tall and tall. They will not bear it, even if it is to launch a war to destroy the world. As for the bottom line of the leaders of various countries, Tang Feng is very accurate. In fact, it is not his own merit, but also the merit of Charles and others. Without his individual proposal, Tang Feng would not be able to consider all the problems of mutant by himself. With the end of the World Conference, one person left, and the people all over the world silently thought inside, and things are really going to change. 930 Cohen, our king has done it. From now on, we don't have to hide. We can go out with integrity. A small house temporarily rented, a fat man said excitedly. Yes, the king did it. We don't have to hide. Let's go. We should go to Atlantis, the country of our mutant. The curly-haired young man, Cohen, opened the door expectantly, and the dazzling sunlight shone on his face, making him squint his eyes slightly, facing the gazes of the people outside, mustering courage and taking firm steps. Just like him, he was still careful to hide all over the world. For various reasons, he couldn't go to mutant in Atlantis. He finally smiled excitedly and walked out of the hiding place, no longer worried or afraid. If you look at it from a high altitude, you will see the mutants integrated into the crowd, like a drop of water in the sea, no longer able to stir up any waves. The mutant crisis has been resolved. There is legal protection. The safety of the mutants has been protected. And there is no need to worry anymore. Oh, by the way, send me a notice, on behalf of the country of Atlantis, and say that as a king, I have been threatened with a nuclear bomb and I want an explanation. Just after returning to Atlantis, Tang Feng slapped his forehead, thinking that the matter of Senator Yoan Bailey was not over. He raised his lips and smiled. Let the senator live for so long. It is time to deal with him. Chapter 137 The Heroes After the Event. The roaring tornado that destroyed the world, the small planet that crashed into it fiercely, was caught in the middle, causing people to suffocate. This was a nightmare. Captain Marvel Carol finally woke up suddenly, opened her eyes and sat up. The white ceiling, the white quilt, and the patient clothes she put on, let her know at once that this was in the hospital. She stood up barefoot, walked to the window blankly, opened the curtains, and saw the scene of people coming and going on the street outside. Since the end of the World Conference, the conflict between mutants and humanity has been resolved, and the mutants who were previously detained have been released by all countries. One by one, the mutants can leave fairly and openly and go to Atlantis one after another. News reports came out from the TV hanging on the wall. Carol turned her head and looked at the TV. Her blank eyes began to focus. She had finished recalling what happened before she fainted. Am I not dead? What happened to the atmosphere breaking? What happened to the World Conference? A series of doubts made her unable to calm down. She quickly opened the door, ran out and continued walking, her face frozen. Please, pause, I need to calm down and recover. Don't bother me with the company. You can decide what to do, okay? But, I'm just your assistant and I don't have such a big power. Simple, from now on, you are the president. This is Tony's conversation with Pepper Potts. Dear, I'm fine, look at my figure, I'm so strong, I'll get better soon, cough cough. Hawkeye tried to put on a muscular pose in front of his girlfriend, but he couldn't be handsome. Instead he got hurt. You're recovering well and should get better soon. You're almost the same. I didn't expect that you and I were people of the same era. Both of them are ancient antiques. 99 It's just a coincidence. The modified serum can't compare to your serum. Your modification is the most perfect. By the way, you're about to get better. Have you thought about it? Are you going to see her? Oh, it's been a long delay. No matter what, It's time to see her one last time. The Captain and Black Widow were talking while slowly moving their bodies to promote blood circulation and speed up recovery. Have you still not found Dr. Banner's trace? Continue to search for him for me. Looking for the direction of the Pacific Ocean. Maybe it's a deserted island. What's the state of the country now? How many mutants have entered Atlantis so far? Nick Fury, who has not yet recovered from his injury, went to work with an injury and worked non-stop. Next to him was Hill reporting the situation, and Phil Coulson was helping to pass messages and notifications. He was also very busy. The place where Carol was hospitalized was also the place where the Avengers and others were hospitalized. As soon as she came out, she looked from room to room to see everyone's situation. Seeing that everyone was okay, she was relieved. Hey, our heroine is awake. Is she sleeping well? Tony took the lead through the door that had been open, noticed Carol's figure, and greeted her. Afterwards, everyone listened to him and happily greeted her with Carol. Carol smiled and nodded, greeted one by one, and finally asked Nick Fury, "What happened after I fainted?" "A lot happened, but overall it was not bad, although we did not play a role." Nick Fury laughed at himself and began to explain the results of the World Conference. "Is that so? It's good that there is no war and everyone is fine." After hearing this, Carol leaned against the wall and sighed helplessly. She couldn't beat Tang Feng. What could she do? It was fortunate to be lucky enough to save his life. "What kind of person are you?" she asked herself in her heart, saying that Tang Feng was a good person, but what he did was abhorrent, ignoring human life and always doing things. She said he was a bad guy, but his purpose was well-intentioned. He just wanted to lead mutant to survive. Not only did they not kill them, but they showed mercy and helped restore the atmosphere. In her opinion, Tang Feng is really a complicated person, difficult to understand. "By the way, what's wrong with my COO?" Carol finally remembered the orange cat and asked worriedly. "Meow meow meow." At this moment, a few whistles came, and the nurse carefully carried COO, who was wrapped in medical bandages. "Gugu is fine, but he has lost his strength and has become a cat with only spirituality and understanding of human language." 35 Nick Fury explained regretfully on the side, but why did he have a damn mood of schadenfreude in his heart? He involuntarily touched the blind eyeball and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "This kind of power is very strange. I can't help you recover for the time being. Don't worry, Gugu. I will help you recover your strength one day. One day, I will defeat him with my own hands." Carol hugged Gugu carefully, said firmly. The superhero on the scene was silent and his mood was very complicated. After being easily defeated by Tang Feng, the cruel reality had already shaken their self-confidence. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't beat Tang Feng, which was a very cruel fact. Vertical bar I believe you will. I always believe that as long as we work together, we can defeat any strong enemy. Just like Howard and I fought against Hydra during World War II, Hydra was eventually destroyed. 35 The silent scene was interrupted by the captain first. He regained his strength and had an indomitable will. "Please stop joking. Hydra is just an evil organization. Tang Feng is a sons of disaster that can destroy the world. Can it be the same?" "Don't talk big, old man. The current era belongs to our young people. I will definitely invent a stronger steel battlesuit and defeat Tang Feng with my own hands." Tony glanced at the captain sarcastically and said unconvincingly, "Oh, did I hear that right? Young? Are you still young? I know your father and we have a good relationship. If you say roar, you should call me uncle." The captain looked Tony up and down, especially at his beard, paused for a moment, promisingly, and replied with a retort, "Ha ha ha, what a joke. How come I'm not a young man anymore?" "You're right, you're an old antique. Don't you know that I'm #1 of the world's top 10 outstanding young men? This is the selection of the world's most prestigious magazine." Tony ignored the debate about seniority and sneered. "That's a different era. In my era, like yours, you can be a grandfather. Howard is so pitiful. His son is as old as a grandfather, and he doesn't even have a grandson." "The captain is honest, but he's not stupid," he said with a snort. Tony's face froze. He was old, he didn't have a son, it was indeed his fault, and he couldn't speak. The rest of the others just laughed and watched, as if they were watching a play. After Tony and the captain made such a fuss, everyone was in a better mood. Chapter 138 The Rise of Immigration. Are you Senator Yoan Bailey? After a long time, I finally saw you in person. In Atlantis, the humble palace where he temporarily lived, and the office where he usually handled official business, Tang Feng sat on the sofa and talked to the middle-aged man in front of him. Linger, the head of the house, stood behind Tang Feng, with two slender hands pressing on his shoulders. Flickering was taking a break from her busy schedule, and thanks to the convenience of the spatial passage, she also brought some delicious fruits, sat beside Tang Feng, and peeled the fruits for him to eat. Of the three women who have become Tang Feng, only Qin is following the White Queen to deal with all kinds of information. There is no free time, and only at night can they have time to make out with Tang Feng. Because everyone is too busy, we don't have much time to get along during the day, so we cherish the opportunity to get along at night. Therefore, let Tang Feng take advantage of this rare situation and coax one by one with good words, and finally let him realize the ideal of sleeping together. With beautiful women by his side, the crisis of mutant has also been resolved, and the only remaining enemy is in front of him. Let him deal with it. Tang Feng is very happy, and his life has surpassed the peak. Don't be complacent, you will not be invincible forever. One day, there will be someone stronger than you in our human race, defeat you, and then destroy the mutants, a race that should not exist. Congressman Yoan Bailey knew that he was going to die, but he did not lower his face and begged for mercy, gritted his teeth and said resentfully. As Tang Feng talked to various countries, he settled the accounts after the fall, and the result was no fluke. One by one, they had a correct attitude and tried according to the newly enacted mutant law. Senator Yoan Bailey is guilty of covering up for his nephew to launch a nuclear bomb, involving the King of Atlantis. There is also evidence that he secretly pursued many mutants, and the crime is unforgivable. According to the law, he was handed over to Atlantis for disposal. This is the reason given by several countries, and it sounds good. Just because they didn't want to offend Tang Feng, they abandoned Senator Yoan Bailey. Everyone knows the hidden meaning, and Tang Feng didn't say it. On behalf of Atlantis, he issued an international announcement, which probably means that he is very satisfied with the attitudes of several countries and peaceful hail. In addition to the matter of Senator Yoan Bailey, Juggernaut, who has been secretly imprisoned, has also been released and has returned to Atlantis to become a battle captain under Magneto. Tang Feng shrugged indifferently and was no longer in the mood to listen to Senator Yoan Bailey's bad words. He stood up, walked towards him, spread his palms, used his calamity, and said, I may have disappointed you. On this planet, there will never be a human being stronger than me. Under Tang Feng's intention, the force of disaster did not kill Yoan Bailey's body all at once, but let him experience the fear of his body being destroyed, wait for a while, and then completely kill him. After killing this irrelevant enemy, Tang Feng pouted boredly and began to deal with political affairs. Magneto, Charles, the White Queen, the Black Queen and others, one by one, seemed to have agreed on a time and arrived one after another. The port temporarily set up by Atlantis, ships with different file sizes, come and go, and new mutants keep coming to this new continent, setting foot on the land in advance. Mom, Dad, here we are, this is Atlantis, our mutants' country. On a ship, a family of three stepped off the ship with the flow of people. A little blonde girl of just over 13, wearing a white dress, like a little princess, was holding Mom's hand in one hand and Dad's hand in the other. Yes, honey, here we are, she said, jumping up. Yes, honey, here we are. Mom's kind words. Yes, here we are, we left everything and started life anew here. Dad sighed with emotion, feeling uneasy in his heart, uneasy about the new unfamiliar life. Atlantis welcomes you. Welcome, our new compatriots. The family of three got off the ship and, like everyone else, went to a reception area to check in first. The hosts were two mutants, a man and a woman, both students at Xavier College. Ajit, you don't have to worry, your daughter is a mutant, you are her relatives, and they will not be hostile. That's right. We mutants also have relatives. Not only did you bring your family with you, But many mutants also came with their relatives, so everyone is equal, don't worry. After hearing the comforting words of the receptionist, the restless couple who had just arrived in Atlantis finally felt at ease, and the people beside them also felt at ease. For the sake of their mutant son, they decided to abandon everything and bring him to Atlantis, just so that the child would grow up healthy and happy, so that he would meet many of his own kind, and so that he would no longer suffer from discrimination. This is the great love of parents. Just like racial discrimination, even if Tang Feng solves the mutant crisis and other countries formulate new laws, it will not change some people's opinions. Ordinary people who discriminate, hate mutants still will not change their minds so easily. Only because of the protection of the law, the existence of Atlantis, and Tang Feng's deterrence, those people can only hide their thoughts in their hearts and dare not show them. If he dares to be open and hostile to mutants, he will be sentenced according to the law, which is anti-human thinking, light imprisonment, and persuasion. The prison term is several years. Hopeless fanatics will be imprisoned for life. It can also be handed over to Atlantis to deal with. According to the law of Atlantis, it will be the execution of the death penalty. That's right, the laws formulated by Tang Feng and everyone have the death penalty. 1 month after the World Conference, the Atlantis continent is still in a busy situation. Everything is in vain, everything is starting from scratch, a country is built first, and there are too many things to do. Even if there are many benchmarks for the operation of the country, there are various talents, but it is not so busy. If you want to stabilize, it is estimated that within a few years, it is impossible and will be very busy. However, Tang Feng will not waste his time on business. He is not a dedicated king. After a while, he will find excuses to be lazy. With the immigration of mutants with their families, the Atlantis continent soon had a population of about 500,000. With a population of 500,000, the mutants are only about 200,000, and even less than half of the number of immigrants. If this continues, if we do not limit the number of immigrants, our country will be overpopulated in the future. On this day, the White Queen held the file recording the population and said to Tang Feng with a serious face, "So, let's limit the number of immigrants. The priority is mutant. If there are relatives who want to bring them in, there must also be restrictions and discretion. Those relatives and friends like the 7 ants and 8 ants will not be allowed to immigrate to them." Tang Feng said helplessly, "Because the immigration conditions are very good and there are many discounts, many people see the opportunity to make a fortune, like crazy, because they are relatives or friends of mutant. They all immigrated together." Chapter 139, A Good Reward, Deception. Huh? Do you have anything else to do? After talking about immigration, Tang Feng began to deal with other documents. The documents piled up on the table made him desperate, and it gave him a headache just looking at them. After processing a document, he saw that the White Queen had not left, so he asked in confusion, "I've been so busy these days, for the sake of helping you do such difficult things, aren't you planning to give them some rewards?" The White Queen put down the document in her hand, put her hands on the table, and walked up to Tang Feng with a pretty face, with a pitiful look. Tang Feng's face was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but touch his nose, and when he understood, he felt a little embarrassed. It stands to reason that the White Queen has always done her best to help him, and her heart has never changed, which is really rare. The beautiful subordinate who is so loyal to him can't let her relax. Tang Feng thought and nodded hesitantly. "Okay, I'll give you a reward." He waved to the White Queen and motioned for her to come over. At first, the White Queen was very self-absorbed, and then she took the opportunity to continue moving forward. Afterwards, Tang Feng shook his head and watched the White Queen leave. How could there be a feeling of being overwhelmed? No way. Self-control is not enough. It's good that no one has been caught. Tang Feng waved the power of disaster with one hand to remove the peculiar smell in the air and said to himself, in order not to be disturbed, he ordered the White Queen to use her psychic power, and whenever someone came close, he would suggest that they leave. As for why she didn't use the power of the collapse of the natural disaster order to reverse the thoughts of those who came close and let them leave, it's because the power of natural disasters is too dangerous, and using the power of natural disasters while doing so, is it seeking death? Seeking death? Or seeking death? Although the White Queen's psychic power could not be hidden from Charles, Magneto and others, as long as they did not collide with them, the embarrassing situation would be avoided. Tang Feng is a little worried now. How to explain the White Queen to the three girls tonight? The only way to do this is to feed them all, so that they have no strength to speak, he said to himself. Same. His face twitched, his liver ached, and the three daughters were not easy to deal with. Even with his physique, this night was destined to be miserable. In the dark universe near the edge of the Milky Way, a wormhole suddenly appeared, and then strangely shaped spaceships, like super-large living insects, flew out of the wormhole. The spaceships that flew out, one after another, seemed to be endless. Among these spaceships, there are also many strange bugs that can survive in the universe, follow the spaceship, revolve around flight, or fly towards the spaceship, treating the spaceship as a nest of worms. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Invisible silent fluctuations spread far away from a spaceship that was clearly the main fleet. Those bugs received instructions, and a reconnaissance spaceship set off in all directions. The Annihilation Zerg has arrived, and it has never given up its plan to hunt down Captain Marvel Carol. After all, the mother planet has been destroyed. This is an unsatisfied hatred. What? At night, Carol, who had just fallen asleep, suddenly woke up. She had a nightmare, dreaming that the Annihilation Zerg were chasing her and invading Blue Star. Something is wrong. Carol put a hand on her forehead, pushed her hair back, gasped for air, and felt very restless. She knew that it was not a nightmare, but her foreknowledge, which allowed her to see a small picture of the future. If there had been no accidents, the nightmare she had had would have happened soon. She stood by the window worriedly, looking at the night scene of the overlapping lights, her eyes fixed, and her restless heart calmed down again. This is her home planet, and no matter who it is, it will not be destroyed. Early the next morning, Carol got up and hurried to Nick Fury to discuss the crisis of annihilating the Zerg invasion. Okay, great. This new energy is really perfect. I didn't expect the old man to die, and he taught me a lesson. The residential villa near the sea, Tony ruined the house. As if demolishing the house, he obsessively looked at the new energy in his hand with a happy face. After the World Conference, Nick Fury also passed Howard's legacy to Tony. Then, Tony also discovered the new element that Howard discovered. Unlike the original nuclear power arc reactor, this new energy source left by Howard before his death has no danger of nuclear contamination, can store more energy and is stronger, and can be combined with a more powerful steel battlesuit. The new energy is still called arc reactor. Tony can't bother with other names. He can't wait to develop a new generation of steel battlesuits. Calm down, roar tilde calm down. Don't get angry. In the accommodation arranged by S.H.I.E.L.D., Dr. Banner sat cross-legged, exercising his endurance and trying to avoid getting angry easily. Sad to say, after the Hulk was sunk to the bottom of the sea by the huge wave and tsunami, he finally broke free from the bottom of the sea, chose a deserted island at will, and let Dr. Banner come out. Dr. Banner sat cross-legged, exercising his endurance and trying to avoid getting angry easily. Banner, who had just woken up, saw the boundless sea and deserted island in front of him. Fruits, plants, birds, beasts, insects, all of it. As long as you make it yourself, you can starve dead men to death. 0 pound middle. 35 After the captain finished speaking, he was silent for a while again, and then said sadly, "If only I could wake up earlier. I still owe you a dance, and there is no chance to repay it." The scene was silent again, only the wind was blowing and the leaves were flying. Fall, fall, fall. At this moment, Black Widow received the task notification. "I have a mission. It's an international criminal gang, taking a group of hostages. Hawkeye is waiting for me. I'm leaving. Do you want to come?" 0 Black Widow turned to leave and turned to look at the captain. "Let's go." The captain squatted down, touched the black and white photo with his hand, stood up again, held back his grief, and said directly. The two of them set off together, on a mission to fight evil and save innocent lives. Although he was defeated by Tang Feng, the mutant country belonging to Atlantis was established. and the world situation has also changed a lot. For these superheroes, what they have to do has not changed. We can't worry, no, otherwise, with their existence, we wouldn't be able to control the world at all. How do I do it? I came up with an idea. Mutants must be treated by mutants. I found a mutant with shielding ability. After testing, no matter which mutant it is, it can shield its mutant ability and turn it into an ordinary person. What about Tang Feng? Will the power also be blocked? 35 in the dark corner. Hydra couldn't stand it anymore and started the conspiracy. Chapter 140 Annihilation of a Zerg Squad. Trident Headquarters, where all the Avengers members are gathered. Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, Carol, Captain M, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Dr. Banner have all arrived, but Tony hasn't arrived yet. At this moment, the door opened, footsteps were heard. It was Tony who came in, and he started talking nonsense as soon as he entered. It turns out that everyone is waiting for me on purpose. Well, I'm already here. Let me know if you have anything. I've been really busy lately, and the steel battlesuit needs to be upgraded, so I really don't have time to lecture you. As Tony said that, he found a place to sit down, crossed Erlang's legs, and his expression was as bad as him. Everyone looked at him with black lines on their faces. Even Dr. Banner couldn't stand it, and even Roar took a breath, holding back and couldn't get angry. Tony, shut up. I'm calling you here because I have some urgent business to tell you about the safety of the entire planet. 35 Nick Fury rubbed his eyebrows with a headache, scolded Tony and said, "Okay, I'm listening, let's talk. 930 is something that could endanger the planet." Hee. Stop joking. Even if we can't solve it, isn't Tang Feng here yet? I don't think there will be any crisis that he can't solve. Tony shrugged casually, flipped through something on his phone, and said indifferently, "You are wrong. In this universe, there are not many true gods stronger than Tang Feng." Faced with these crises of the true gods, even Tang Feng can't solve them. This crisis involves a true god. It is the Annihilation Insect King, the king of the Annihilation Insect race. In the boundless and vast universe, it has great prestige, making people despair and fear. Captain Marvel Carol replied with a serious expression, looked at everyone present, and slowly said, "Well, what kind of existence do you mean by the true god and insect king? It can't be a god, right? Is he a stronger enemy than Tang Feng?" Dr. Banner asked with a tangled expression. He has always believed in science and does not believe in any theology at all. Even if he can transform into the Hulk and possess powerful powers, he regards it as a miracle of science. Other powerful individuals, including Tang Feng, are also believed to be genetic variants. Therefore, it is really difficult for him to accept the name taboos of true gods and gods. The rest of the people looked at Carol curiously and listened to her explanation. What is science? The end of science is theology. In this world, you can use scientific means to become a god, or you can use means other than science, such as magic power, such as the power of various miracles, to become a god. The so-called true god is the power that transcends mortals. The body is free from the limitation of lifespan, exists forever, and is immortal and immortal, that is, the true God. Every true God is a miracle of life, has infinite power, and can destroy stars with a raised hand. His greatness is unimaginable. Tang Feng is very strong, and he is only a 5th level power, and he still belongs to the mortal level. Compared with the true God, he is still the difference between heaven and earth, far from being an opponent. 95 Carol explained with a serious look on her face. Everyone opened their eyes unconsciously. Roar's breathing became heavier, and he looked very uneasy, because he was scared. Although they didn't quite understand, they understood one thing. They believed that the invincible Tang Feng could only dominate among mortals, and he would be a rookie when he met the true God. As you say, the so-called true gods are 6th level beings who are stronger than 5th level beings and can live forever. God. It's really hard to believe. Tony was no longer in the mood to look at his phone, and waved both hands, unable to remain calm. The division of true gods is not as simple as 5 or 6 levels. Although each true god is strong or weak, it is also the same for beings of the same level. Under the true God, for us, we are not qualified to set any level of power for them. Carol shook her head and said, I have always believed that our humans have survived to this day because of our own hard work. So I don't believe that there is any true God in the world. If there's a stronger enemy than Tang Feng, I would rather believe that it is a 6th-tier powerhouse. 5. The captain spoke. Okay, we are not arguing about these issues now. We should be discussing the coming crisis. Carol, tell me, let me introduce to you what kind of opponent we are going to face. Nick Fury slapped the table to stop everyone's discussion, said, okay, I have the ability to foresee. Last night, I dreamed of the arrival of the Annihilation Zerg. Annihilation Zerg, you can think of them as all kinds of insects, just super big, with various abilities, among which there are high-level and high-intelligence Zerg. They are a race. They also have a king, and they are the strongest. Fortunately, the Annihilation Insect King did not come in person. It is a small team of the Annihilation Insect race. The leader is Queen Blade, and his strength is also level 5. Carol's face was ugly, and she said solemnly, just a small team, plus a 5th-level Blade Queen. No matter how terrible the Zerg's annihilation is, we should be able to solve it. 99 Hawkeye breathed a sigh of relief and said confidently, no, you are wrong. The Annihilation Zerg have always been against the enemy in numbers, and the seemingly endless number is what makes people despair. A small team is a formation of 100 million Annihilation Zerg. 100 million, Carol said, and everyone was stunned. Even if Nick Fury knew this a long time ago, hearing it now makes him panic. A small team, the number is 100 million, plus the cosmic fleet brought by the Annihilation Zerg. This power can destroy any planet. Then, Carol added, the scene fell into a deathly silence, causing people to panic and fear. I have a question. Why did such a terrible Annihilation Zerg come to our planet? Is there a reason? Silently, Black Widow suddenly asked. I'm sorry, I brought him here. I was once caught by the Annihilation Zerg, and when I was lucky enough to escape, I took the opportunity to destroy his planet, so he was chasing me. Carol said apologetically. I can't blame her for this. It's my responsibility to bring her back to annihilate the Zerg. Nick Fury opens his mouth to absolve Carol and choose to bear all the consequences. It's useless to say these things now. The most important thing right now is how to deal with the crisis of annihilating the Zerg. I think you should take out all the dangerous weapons from secret research, arm them, and strengthen everyone's strength. Tony held the phone with the screen towards Nick Fury, glanced lightly at the captain and the others, and hummed. Damn it, you hacked into our system. Stop me now. Nick Fury's face was startled, and he hurriedly shouted. Tony snorted a few times and ignored him. Before facing Tang Feng, although 4.7 knew that S.H.I.E.L.D. had a Rubik's Cube weapon, and saved his life thanks to it, he did not expect that there were so many Rubik's Cube weapons secretly developed, and some more. Danger. Although he was not in trouble, he was accidentally injured by his own weapons. However, after becoming Iron Man, he also showed off and conducted operations against terrorists. Because of this, I saw with my own eyes how terrorists use weapons, which he developed to brutally kill innocent people. Furthermore, after seeing through Obadiah's true face, Stanley also got some truths from him. All the weapons he developed were sold to various terrorist organizations, helping the tyrants and indirectly becoming a murderer. Tony blamed himself and woke up, and stopped the arms trade. This is why he is now very displeased with the development of powerful and dangerous weapons by others. If he hadn't experienced the despair given by Tang Feng and the threat of annihilating the Zerg, he wouldn't have let Nick Fury go so easily. Chapter 141. Different plot developments. Each superhero has a distinct style of behavior, and it is impossible for them to meet without arguing. If it weren't for Tang Feng's threat, if it weren't for the impending crisis of annihilating the Zerg, they would probably be arguing about splitting up, just like the original plot of the Avengers. After the meeting, all the superheroes left with heavy faces, preparing for the crisis of annihilating the Zerg. Captain Marvel Carol gave a deadline, the time for the arrival of the annihilation of the Zerg, as slow as half a year, as fast as 2 or 3 months. Think about the bad first. If the Zerg annihilation comes in 2 or 3 months, what should I do? How can the steel battlesuit be improved? Tony pondered anxiously as soon as he ran back to the house. Just when Tony wanted to concentrate all his energy and try to make his steel battlesuit stronger, something happened that interfered with him. 3 days later, he was invited to a congress to discuss his steel battlesuit with the goal of stealing the latest technology from him. This is Hydra's secret plan, wanting O9 to get their steel battlesuit. Tony certainly wouldn't give up his steel battlesuit. He wouldn't give up even half a step. He made snide remarks at the Congress and humiliated his rival Justin Hammer, ending the Congress in near failure. Tony frowned, knowing that if he insisted on not handing over his steel battlesuit, even with his reputation, he would be in trouble. In order not to get into trouble and interfere with his steel battlesuit transformation and save the world, he thought of a way to give the Mark II version of the steel battlesuit to his friend, Colonel Rhodes. Colonel Rhodes is a member of the military and a country. He has a steel battlesuit, which means that the country has a steel battlesuit. Although I didn't get the skills of the steel battlesuit, but with the steel battlesuit, I can slowly study it, so I don't need to force Tony anymore. At this point, Tony's troubles are gone and he can study the steel battlesuit with peace of mind. The tree wants to be quiet but the wind doesn't stop. Tony doesn't want to cause trouble, but trouble keeps coming to the door. The Morning Whip, Anton Wong, based on the information left by his father, successfully researched the nuclear power arc reactor that only Tony can make. He had always resented Tony and Howard, believing that they had stolen his father's invention from him and that everything Tony enjoyed should now belong to him. Therefore, he put on a rudimentary armor, added 2 self-made energy whips, firmly came to the door, broke into the house, and, to Tony's surprise, tried to kill Tony with the energy whip. Unlike the racetrack in the original plot, it is inconvenient to change clothes. This is Tony's base camp. The steel battlesuits are lined up in teams, all waiting for Tony to choose and change clothes. That's it. It turned out to be no accident. Tony defeated the Morning Whip cleanly and sent him to prison. After that, there were no more incidents of a group of steel robots beating Tony. Because Anton Morning Whip Vank secretly let Hydra rescue him, with his nuclear power reactor development technology, with Hydra's scientific research strength, he has also thoroughly studied the steel battlesuit and can be produced in large quantities at any time. After Hydra made a secret shot once, he closed himself off again and hid, waiting for the plan to begin. Nick Fury was busy dealing with a crisis involving the entire planet and reacted a little late. When he wanted to secretly pick up Anton, he was forced to leave Vank and obtain the arc reactor manufacturing technology. He accidentally heard that Anton Vank was already in prison. News of death. Since S.H.I.E.L.D. has a large number of Hydra agents, it is very easy to play tricks. Even if Nick Fury wondered about the cause of Anton's death, Vank and sent his men to investigate, still no trace of horses was found, just like a normal suicide. After discovering the false truth, Nick Fury had to stop and unfortunately lost the chance to obtain the arc reactor technology. Carol, is there anything you can do to find me? Trident headquarters, Nick Fury asked. I have something to discuss with you about fighting the Annihilation Zerg. Do you want to tell Tang Feng to join forces with him to fight the enemy? With his help and the help of other mutants, we have a better chance of surviving the crisis. Captain Marvel. Carol hesitated and said slowly, I've thought of you. Let's wait and see. There is still time. Don't rush to tell Tang Feng. He's so busy now that he probably won't have time to pay attention to us. Nick Fury clasped his hands on his chin and said after a while, he is not a rigid person who doesn't know how to adapt. No matter what abominable things Tang Feng has done before, what kind of grievances he has, he must put aside all his grievances and fight the enemy together under the crisis that the planet will be destroyed. A small team of Annihilation Zerg has a number of 100 million. And the Avengers have no confidence to resist. In addition to uniting with Tang Feng, Mutant S power is also indispensable. Knowing what Nick Fury was thinking, Carol left with confidence. Time passed slowly, and after half a month, Hydra's secret plan began. He secretly controlled a renowned international research institute, announced the existence of the protector person Jimmy, and declared to the world that, based on the blood selflessly provided by Jimmy, he had developed a serum that could eliminate the mutant ability. In other words, It is possible to turn mutant into a normal person. As soon as the news came out, it caused an uproar all over the world and there was a lot of discussion. Everyone paid attention to Atlantis' reaction and wanted to know how mutant would view this matter. In response to this in 930, Atlantis issued a notice to the outside world that every mutant had the right to freely choose. If you don't want to become a normal person, but still want to remain a mutant, then no matter what the reason is, you can't force any mutant to inject serum. This is the decision that Tang Feng negotiated with Magneto, Charles and others after learning about it. Some mutants' ability is very tasteless. Not only does it have no effect, but it also causes trouble in life. If so, they would rather not mutate the ability and be willing to be ordinary people. Tang Feng knew this and negotiated with Magneto and others to make a decision. Because the mutant crisis was over and there were countries that belonged to mutants, all mutants with strange abilities would not be willing to give up their abilities and become ordinary people again. After all, as a mutant who immigrates to Atlantis, there will be all kinds of preferential treatment, and the future life will be worry-free. Even if the ability is tasteless, it doesn't matter. There are very few mutants who want to give up the ability and become an ordinary person again. They are very weak in ability and cause trouble to their own life. As a last resort, after careful consideration, they are reluctant. Ask for a serum injection and become an ordinary person. Chapter 142. We dare not ask what happened. The presence of Shielder Jimmy, which would have led to further infighting among the mutants, would have resulted in Jin becoming Dark Phoenix, joining Magneto's army and trying to kill Jimmy. The X-Men are on the opposite side, protecting Jimmy against the Brotherhood headed by Magneto. As a result, Magneto was attacked by the Golden Wolf, injected with the antidote serum, and has since become an ordinary person. Also, Charles died at the hands of Dark Phoenix, and in the Easter egg in the end, it is suspected that he was resurrected by his body. In any case, neither the Brotherhood nor the X-Men can please ordinary people. From then on, Mutant's situation will become more and more difficult, until Sentinel is perfected and Mutant is completely eliminated. This is the plot of the original Time and Space. Due to Tang Feng's influence, the mutant country was established, which made Mutant no longer in danger. Even if the Shield Man Jimmy appeared, there would be no major movement. Just like taking Jimmy as a doctor, some mutants don't want their own tasteless ability, want to return to a normal life, and would rather become an ordinary person. So they come to Jimmy for treatment and inject antidote serum. The current Jimmy, and this is the role, cannot affect the mutant's life at all, and cannot cause infighting. With the attention of Tang Feng, Magneto and others, no one with ulterior motives dared to force the mutant to inject the antidote serum and become an ordinary person. In this way, Tang Feng is also not very interested in Jimmy. This is an irrelevant small role. Moreover, his power is related to the power of destiny at the highest level, and he doesn't think that Jimmy's protection ability can work on him at all. In this way, he would not want to kill Jimmy because he was afraid of his ability. Yesterday, Magneto went to see that Jimmy in person, and it was surprising that even Magneto's power was blocked by Jimmy's ability. Magneto is already a level 4 mutant, and Jimmy can block it. What if it were you? Is there a chance, Tilda? The Black Queen was looking for Tang Feng to discuss some things. After that, she told her about Jimmy. She was astonished, afraid, and wanted to kill. My power can't be blocked by his ability. Not only me, but also Kin and Wanda's power, he can't block it. Tang Feng shook his head slightly and said confidently, "You haven't seen Jimmy, are you so sure? Also, you are a level 5 mutant. Jimmy's ability doesn't work for you, I believe. But why are Jean and Wanda exceptions? You know, even Magneto can't resist it," the Black Queen asked in surprise. Jean and Wanda's power, the mutant is somewhat different. It is not a pure mutant power, and I am the same. Jimmy's shield ability can only target mutant, so it has no effect on us. Although it is just my guess, I don't think it is wrong. If you don't believe me, go see Jimmy when he is free to verify. Tang Feng waved his hands casually, without explaining the two women and their strength in detail. He picked up the pen and began to process the remaining documents. Seeing that Jimmy is not in a hurry, he has too many things to do now. Even if he is lazy, he will leave most of the things to Magneto, Charles and others to do, and the rest is enough for him to be busy. Huh? Do you have something to do? Tang Feng finished processing a document and saw that the Black Queen did not leave, so he stood by the table and looked straight at him, which made him feel inexplicable. This scene is a bit familiar. Is it an illusion? It's a bit personal. I heard that you and the White Queen have been together for a long time. What is it? Can you tell me? The Black Queen sat at the table, lifted Tang Feng's chin with her delicate hands, and said with a smile. Tang Feng smiled. So brave, since she dared to tease him like that. Don't watch the Dark Queen live for too long, because the ability, appearance, and skin that can absorb vitality are all better than an 18-year-old girl. After the Dark Queen leaves, hey, little naughty, are you here to find Tang Feng? As soon as the Black Queen came out, she saw the blushing little naughty standing in the corner, looking awkward. She didn't care. She tossed her hair and asked, yes. I've seen the Dark Queen's sheriff. At this moment, the Dark Queen exudes a charming style all over her body, and the little naughty stared at her for a while, then came back to her senses and hurriedly said, it turns out that she's free, so you can come in. The Black Queen made some guesses about the little naughty looking for Tang Feng, shook her head and walked away. The little naughty looked away from the Dark Queen's back and muttered in her heart, she must be free now. While waiting, she didn't dare to say or ask what happened inside. Cough. Is she a little naughty? What's wrong with me? Tang Feng's face also thickened. He didn't care about the little naughty overhearing in the corner. He coughed and said seriously, I have seen the king. I have come to request resignation. 35. The little naughty hesitated for a moment, gritted his teeth and said with determination, request resignation? Why resign? What's the reason? Did you talk to the Black Queen? Tang Feng subconsciously sat up straight and asked in confusion, I want to inject myself with the antidote serum and become an ordinary person. Without strength, I wouldn't be suitable for the role of security captain, so I want to resign. I didn't tell the sheriff, I knew he wouldn't agree, so I came to tell you and wanted your approval. The little naughty girl explained. Ever since she knew about the antidote serum, she wanted to apply for an injection and become an ordinary person again, and she didn't want to promise the good of this power body. Her mutant power is the ability to absorb the person who touches it. It is uncontrolled, as long as there is no clothing to block it. If she touches the other party's skin, she will absorb the other party's power. Wolverine was almost sucked to death by her, and Magneto's power was also absorbed by her. With her as the core of the plan, she almost forced everyone who participated in the World Conference to be a committee of mutants. This kind of power is very powerful and it annoys her very much. She can only wear thick clothes to avoid accidentally touching others and suck dead men dry, because this means that she cannot fall in love and is destined to be alone forever and die. Therefore, the appearance of the antidote serum is like a ray of hope. She wants to become an ordinary person, enjoy the love that an ordinary girl should have, and wants to touch anyone without any scruples. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, Queen Candidates. I don't agree. After hearing Jean Naughty's words, Tang Feng faced her expectant gaze and shook his head firmly, with a non-negotiable attitude. King, I beg you, please accept my resignation. I really don't want this power anymore. The little naughty was in a hurry and pleaded. I have a solution to your problem. You don't have to go inject yourself with the antidote serum and throw away the power. In my opinion, your ability has great potential, and it would be a shame to abandon it. Tang Feng saw that Jean Naughty was about to cry, so he stopped teasing her and said seriously. The naughty little face was startled, her eyes widened unconsciously, and she asked in disbelief, King, do you really have a solution to my problem? 5. Definitely. I know it's hard for you to believe it, and now I will help you solve it. Tang Feng stood up from the chair, walked around the desk, came to the little naughty girl, stretched out a hand and put it in front of her. The little naughty girl looked nervously, holding her breath, waiting for Tang Feng to do it, but also worried that the result would disappoint her. "Wait a minute. No matter what happens, don't panic, don't bother me," Tang Feng said solemnly. The little naughty girl nodded nervously, indicating that she knew. 933. A natural disaster order collapsed. Tang Feng saw that the little naughty girl understood, took a deep breath, no longer hesitated, concentrated, meditated for a while, and waited until there were no more distracting thoughts, as if her mind was sinking into a calm lake, and finally used the collapse order, the power to reverse reality, reversing the uncontrollable nature of the little naughty by absorbing power, so that he can control his own power. Since the level of the little naughty is not high, only the third level, although the potential is great, after all, the potential has not been converted into power, so Tang Feng felt that it was not difficult and quickly successfully reversed the reality. During this process, the little naughty felt that her body was uncomfortable and had difficulty breathing, as if she was about to die. She just remembered Tang Feng's words and held back. A short minute or two, in her opinion, is extremely long. When Tang Feng let go of her hand, regained her strength and solved her problem, she collapsed on the ground, sucking raw, sweating profusely. "Okay. Your problem should be solved," Tang Feng said, squatted down, grabbed the little naughty boy's sweaty hand with one hand, and checked it for himself. "I don't want to." "No, Ajit," subconsciously shouted mischievously. As soon as he said the words, he was pleasantly surprised to see Tang Feng as if nothing had happened. He could feel that her power was still lurking in her body, and it was already under his control, and he did not do anything bad. "Okay, very good." The little naughty boy grabbed Tang Feng's hand, stood up, shouted happily, and cried with joy. She can control her power freely, as long as she doesn't want to. She will not harm others. This was what she had been waiting for day and night. With Tang Feng's help, she finally solved the problem of uncontrolled power. She hugged Tang Feng excitedly and thanked him repeatedly. "Ha ha ha, okay, you're welcome. I should have solved it earlier, because I was too busy and didn't notice your problem. I should apologize to you." Tang Feng hugged the little naughty boy and had no other ideas. Helping others was the basis of happiness, and said with a smile, "No, please don't say that. You've been worrying about our mutant things before, mine are just small things." The little naughty boy quickly said. At this moment, the door opened, and Linger walked in with a fruit bowl, looking at the two people hugging each other with a strange expression. "Ah, nothing happened to us. Just thank the king for helping me solve the strength problem. There's nothing to bother the king, so I'll go first." The little naughty boy pushed Tang Feng away in a panic, his face flushed, and he quickly walked away as he explained to Linger. Tang Feng shrugged silently, looked at Linger, spread his hands, did not explain too much, and believed that Linger would not be jealous so easily. In fact, that's right, Linger didn't say much, just gently gave the fruit to Tang Feng and pressed his shoulder. "Did you finish your work today?" Linger pressed and asked. "No. There are still a lot of unfinished work. You don't have to press, help me finish these documents." Tang Feng was annoyed and scratched his head. It was really great to be lazy for a while. He was lazy all the time. He took Linger and sat together and pushed half of the documents to her. "Okay." Linger nodded and brought a document for Tang Feng's approval. "This is a proposal to build a school that says this is the road plan outside the palace. This is an ecological plan, intending to turn the disaster-stricken city into a green city. This is a proposal for a state position, which is supported by many firms. It is said that Atlantis' position is unreasonable and should be divided into more details, like Magneto's military minister position. It sounds too childish. It should be." Linger picked up the documents and said while helping Tang Feng approve them. Tang Feng also listened absent-mindedly while processing documents. When he heard the suggestion of the position, he waved his hand and said, "Don't worry about these, although it sounds like an old title, but in terms of function, it is actually no different from other countries, and we have set the position that should be there. It does not need to be exactly the same as other countries. The positions of military minister and executive minister are called drawer, and they will not be changed. This is the fate of the crayfish mythical beast. In Atlantis, Tang Feng was the king. No one could change what he decided. and no one dared to offend him, saying one is one, pointing at the donkey and saying it is a horse. It must be a horse. Linger did not persuade him, and continued to pick up a document for approval. This is. She looked stunned for a moment, looked at Tang Feng, and then said, the above proposes that the country already has a king, and there should also be a queen. I ask you to consider the candidate for queen. After she finished speaking, she blinked her bright eyes and looked at Tang Feng, waiting for an answer. Queen? Wait, I'm so busy now that I don't have time to meet the queen, put it aside for now. Tang Feng pondered for a while, then waved his hands and said, noticing that there was a hint of disappointment in Linger's eyes, she smiled and assured her, don't worry, the queen will be chosen for you. Linger's eyes lit up and her heart was sweet. Compared to standing by Tang Feng's side, she didn't care much about the status of the queen. However, if she is the queen, it also proves her status in Tang Feng's heart. Saying that she doesn't care about this is a lie. Huh? Am I not the only queen? After a while, she came back to her senses, noticed the deep meaning in Tang Feng's words, and asked strangely, you'll know when the time comes. Tang Feng smiled and did not explain, leaving Linger to speculate. Chapter 144 Hydra Trap. Zerg Invasion Crisis of Annihilation. After Anton Vank was captured and put in prison, didn't he do anything else? Did he die? It shouldn't be possible. Maybe he was rescued. Who did it? He has so much energy that even the intelligence division can't find him yet. If you guess correctly, it might be Hydra's fault. Tang Feng muttered to himself, drank tea afterwards, and watched Qin's graceful back leave. After being busy with his work, he finally remembered those superheroes, so he called Qin to ask about things related to Tony and others. But to his surprise, the original plot of Iron Man 2 had unknowingly passed by. As one of Iron Man's villains, the appearance of Morning Whip was also anticlimactic, which disappointed him. As for Hydra, he didn't pay too much attention to it. No matter what Hydra does or how it deals with superheroes, as long as it doesn't provoke it, it's fine. There are too many evil organizations and too many supervillains in the Marvel world, and Hydra is just one of them. With Tang Feng's current power, he is already invincible on this planet, and he won't care about a few ants. Bounce. The tiger doesn't hurt the people's will, the people hurt the tiger's heart. Tang Feng wanted to be a quiet king and lead his subjects to build the country, or sneak in and out during the day and have fun. That's life. Boring, busy, and fulfilling. However, his peaceful life was finally disturbed. Huh? What did you say? Jimmy wants to see me? Tang Feng blinked suspiciously, turned his head to look at Linger, and said, just kidding, he wants to see me, so come in person. Why do I come to see him? How old is he? He laughed angrily. That's what I said. The Research Institute gave an explanation, saying that Jimmy made a lot of sacrifices because he cooperated with the experiment to develop the antidote serum. At present, the genes in his body are already facing collapse, and he may die at any time. The institute is trying to help Jimmy continue his life. He can't move at will, and he probably won't last too long. Jimmy wants to see you before he dies. This is his last wish. Linger replied according to the explanation given by the Research Institute. Is there such a thing? Tang Feng felt very strange. After thinking about it, he remembered that in the plot of X-Men 3, even if Jimmy was studied, it would have nothing to do with him. Why is it different now? Is he about to die? Could it be the problem caused by different research institutes? The research ability of this research institute is not good, so Jimmy is going to die? If that's the case, then go see him. Tang Feng stretched and stood up and said, with an indifferent attitude, curious about Jimmy's question and fulfilling the dying man's wishes. Tang Feng opened the portal and took Linger to see Jimmy. Jimmy's research institute is on a small military island. It cooperates with the military and is well defended. It has planes, tanks, missiles, and machine guns. Tang Feng already knew the appearance of the island, and with the convenience of the portal, he was able to see Jimmy. Tang Feng came here from Atlantis in one step. Who? Tang Feng just took Linger out, and the soldiers guarding him shouted vigilantly, and the gun in his hand was firing bullets without hesitation. Reality is not a movie. Tang Feng suddenly appeared on the island without warning, and he would definitely be shot. I am Tang Feng, the king of Atlantis. Tell you who is in charge here and say that I am here. With a wave of Tang Feng's hand, the Calamity formed a protective shield around himself, blocking all the bullets, and raised his voice. The soldiers were in disbelief. With Tang Feng's appearance and the Calamity's dark red features, they had already recognized him. They quickly put their hands away, vigilantly standing aside, and took out the communicator to report. Soon, the leader of the soldiers received a confirmation reply and nodded to Tang Feng. We offended just now, please. 99 At your order. All the soldiers gave way. Being alert, the automatic remote control turned around and aimed at Tang Feng's muzzle, and the muzzle also moved away. Interesting. Tang Feng raised his mouth and smiled. Through the exploration of the field, he had already noticed something. He pretended not to have found anything, and led Linger to the research institute with all the walls whitewashed. Brother, it seems that something is wrong. As soon as she entered the research institute, Linger instinctively sensed the danger and said anxiously, Don't worry, it's just a research institute. Tang Feng shrugged and said softly. Linger stopped talking thoughtfully. She had been with Tang Feng for so long and had a tacit understanding. She heard it. Tang Feng did not deny the danger, but she did not take it seriously. Looking for flowers Also, the danger in my eyes is nothing to my brother. Linger thought about it and followed Tang Feng confidently. Welcome the king of Atlantis to come. And why don't you tell us before he comes, so that we can be prepared? 99 It's really rude to treat you like this now. The director of the research institute, a white middle-aged man with glasses, accompanied by 2 assistants, hurriedly greeted Tang Feng and said in an apologetic tone, Anyway, okay, take me to see Jimmy. Tang Feng glanced at him and saw through the man's essence appearance. He said casually, Okay, please come with me. The person in charge was stunned for a moment, then immediately reacted, smiled and nodded towards Linger, then took the lead and walked forward. His 2 assistants lowered their heads and said nothing, as if they were very afraid of Tang Feng and did not dare to intervene at will. I heard that Jimmy is going to be killed by you guys. What's going on? Tang Feng followed behind and looked at the research institute from left to right. What he saw were rooms with closed doors, and no researchers were found along the way. You're kidding. Our institute's research technology is the best in the world, and Jimmy also volunteered to cooperate with the research. We won't deliberately get involved in Deadman, especially mutant. The person in charge waved his hands again and explained with a very innocent look. Tang Feng squinted at him, expressionless, and said nothing. The person in charge was suspicious. Seeing that Tang Feng suddenly said such words, he didn't say anything more, so he couldn't help but guess at random. That's how smart people are. Arrived. Please be taken care of inside. 99 When he finally came to a room, the person in charge breathed a sigh of relief and pushed the door forward. Regardless of whether Tang Feng noticed anything or not, he had already come here, and his plan had been half successful. The door, which slowly opened, was like a portal to hell. In the room, there was only a bed for a patient, on which Jimmy lay with his head uncovered, closed his eyes, and fell asleep. There were infusion tubes tied around his arms and neck, and there were automatic instruments beside him, and there was a cube energy Rubik's Cube that had been prepared. With the opening of the door, various types of liquids quickly entered Jimmy's body along with the infusion tube, followed by the infusion of Rubik's Cube energy. In just a few seconds, he had a violent reaction and his eyes suddenly opened. Chapter 145 The History of Hydra. Those are a pair of unholy and unreasonable eyes. Jimmy's thin body swelled, filled with the power of the Rubik's Cube, overflowing, and a faint black light appeared under the skin. The liquid injected into his body was specially made for him by Hydra, the serum that could strengthen his genes, and the energy infusion from the Rubik's Cube, which could push his protective ability to the limit, all at once. The price is that he will die from genetic collapse. Jimmy has lost his mind, and the surging power in his body, coupled with the severe pain in his body, makes him scream instinctively. With his scream, his ability also increased rapidly, like an expanding field, instantly enveloping the entire research institute. Brother, I lost the ability. Even if she was standing outside the door and did not enter, Linger looked at her hands in surprise and said to Tang Feng with vigilance, "What's going on? Is it out of control?" Tang 933 Feng pretended not to know, turned his head to look at the person in charge and asked, "It may be that your genes have suddenly accelerated to collapse." The person in charge said with a panicked face, trying to rush past Tang Feng and enter the room, perhaps because he ran too fast. His heart was confused, his steps were unstable. He leaned on Tang Feng and was about to fall. "Be careful." Tang Feng stretched out his hands to support him. "Thank you, King of Atlantis. Goodbye, Hydra hail." The person in charge raised his head with a wicked smile, and used the hidden sword technique to quickly take out the Rubik's Cube weapon. Light energy. Tang Feng squinted his eyes and lowered his head, staring at the person in charge, not caring at all that a hole was pierced through his body. "Are you okay? How is it possible that Jimmy blocked your power? You should be an ordinary person now." Seeing that Tang Feng was not injured at all, the person in charge cried out in disbelief. Then, he clenched the magic cube weapon like a lightsaber and wanted to stab it a few more times, but he couldn't accept the reality. Boom. Tang Feng definitely wouldn't let him be so presumptuous. He held his neck with one hand and leaned against the wall. The powerful force made him make a painful sound, and by the way, he took out the Rubik's Cube weapon and threw it to the ground. At the same time, the volume of the power of disaster also killed the two research assistants who wanted to escape when things went wrong. "You are disappointed. My power is not a pure variant ability. Jimmy's ability is not valid for me." Tang Feng grabbed the person in charge and slammed it against the wall a few times, until all the alloy walls changed shape, and then threw the person in charge who lost the ability to fight to the ground and said coldly. The person in charge fell to the ground in shock, vomited blood again and again, and was very reluctant. He thought of many tactical changes, even the possibility that his sneak attack would not succeed, but he didn't expect that Jimmy's ability had no effect on Tang Feng. "Impossible. You are a mutant, and your ability is also due to the X gene. In the face of Jimmy's protection ability, it is impossible to survive." "I don't believe it," the person in charge roared desperately. "It's a pity to disappoint you. There are too many things in this world that you don't know. Don't think that you know mutant very well. I know better than you." Mutant's ability, in addition to the X gene in the body, also has another source of power, that is, by chance, a certain source of power from the universe. For example, Kin. He became a mutant after he obtained the strength of the phoenix wandering in the universe and inspired the X gene. There is also Wanda. She was born with the magical power of chaos, so the mysterious and powerful chaos god sensed her existence and gave her power, which inspired her X gene and became a mutant with unlimited potential. The same is true for Tang Feng. It was the power of destiny that inspired the X gene, awakening the power and turning into a mutant. So, that's what he said, and the difference between the two girls and the pure mutant. Tang Feng didn't want to explain. It's enough to know this kind of thing himself. There's no need to say is everywhere. If the conspirators found out, they would definitely set their covetous eyes on Kin and Wanda. After all, even mutant abilities can be copied and possessed by means of black technology, and the Phoenix Force and Chaos Force can also be deprived. As long as there is such a possibility, it is best not to reveal it until the two women have fully grown up and controlled the power in their bodies. Tang Feng squatted down, grabbed the hair of the person in charge, grabbed his head, rubbed his face with the other hand, and quickly changed into another appearance. "Baron Strucker of Hydra, I didn't expect you to come out against me personally. Very well, it seems I'm too kind to threaten you. Since this is the case, let's do something to completely destroy your Hydra, so that you won't come to plot against me from time to time," which is disgusting. The intelligence section had some information about Hydra and had seen Baron Stella's photo. Tang Feng recognized the true identity of the person in charge immediately. Baron Stella has the dead spore virus in his body, which can delay aging. He has lived from World War II to the present, and his photos are also from World War II. After Tang Feng finished speaking, he used calamity to condense a sphere the size of a ping-pong file on his finger. With a flick of his finger, the calamity ball flew towards Baron Strucker. Moon Hungarian board. The sizzling sound continued, Like water from the corpse, the calamity ball quickly annihilated his body. Ah, 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 ah. Don't be overconfident, my plan is not over yet. Next, I will let you take a look at the ambush I carefully prepared for you. 5 cut off one head and 2 will grow back. Hydra hail. Before Baron Stella died, he shouted loudly, "Linger, you leave first." Tang Feng was not surprised. His right hand drew a circle beside him, but failed to open the portal, as expected of Hydra. Even the black technology to suppress spatial fluctuations has been developed. He sighed, pulled Linger behind him, and looked up. The rumbling sound continued. The ceiling was destroyed by powerful weapons. One after another, steel figures were suspended in the air, covering the sky and blocking the sun, constantly firing Rubik's Cube energy bombs, covering the figures of Tang Feng and Linger. 4.7. Suddenly, a surprising scene happened, and all the cube energy bullets disappeared, as if it had never happened. Natural disaster, order collapsed. The force that reversed reality, wiped out all the cube energy bombs. Not only Steel Robot, but Sentinel, who seems perfect. Most of the abilities have it, and even Jimmy's ability is copied. So many Sentinels have copied Jimmy's ability and launched them together. Even a 5th level mutant will be suppressed and killed. 39. Great, if it weren't for me, maybe Hydra's plan would have succeeded. Tang Feng's weak sigh came out. He and Linger remained at the scene unharmed, and the surrounding research institutes were already in a bad state of disrepair. Chapter 146. A snap of the fingers. This is the game of Hydra tradition. One-shot kill. If Tang Feng was a level 5 pure mutant, he would never come back and would be killed on the spot. In reality, there is no if. Facing the protection ability jointly used by Sentinel, Tang Feng has nothing at all, only Linger behind him, showing an awkward expression. His power has completely disappeared. Calamity, order collapsed. Reversing reality, acting on the black technology that suppresses spatial fluctuations, making it ineffective. He can use the portal. Tang Feng pulled Linger, ignoring the steel robot covering the sky, rushing down, stepped out, stepped over the portal, and disappeared. Natural disaster, planetary impact. Disaster, Great Flood. Following Tang Feng's departure, a small planet with a diameter of 1 kilometer fell from the sky. Then, the seawater surged, setting off a huge wave of more than 1,000 meters, layer upon layer, surging. First, the small planet shattered the island, and a strong shockwave erupted, crushing Sentinel and the steel robot, and then breaking the island into pieces. Then, the huge waves rolled, engulfing small planets and broken islands, and sinking everything to the bottom of the sea, showing the inclusiveness of the ocean, and the strong water pressure crushed everything into slag. When the waves subsided and the wind stopped, the original island turned into a sea of rolling waves. Tang Feng used the means of thunder to destroy Hydra's ambush plan. He expressed regret for Jimmy's death and didn't care too much about it. He was not familiar with it anyway. Back in Atlantis, Tang Feng summoned everyone. Magneto, Charles, Black Queen, White Queen, Jin, Wanda, Wolverine, the talkative Deadpool, Blink, Lisa, etc. All of them gathered here. Hydra just killed me. Tang Feng sat up, clasped his hands together, held his chin, and pressed his elbows on the table, looking at all the people around him. The moment he opened his mouth, the people at the scene were all shocked. After being stunned for a while, they shouted angrily one by one and expressed their own opinions. Twinkle, Ken, Lisa, White Queen, Black Queen, and other women worriedly asked if they were injured. Tang Feng shook his head and told them not to worry. If Hydra dares to attack me, I will definitely take revenge. I have decided that it is better to hit the sun if I choose another day. I will go and destroy them now. After I leave, the country's affairs will be left in your hands. Kin, Twinkle, Linger, let's go. Tang Feng slammed the table on the spot and decided to take revenge, opened the portal and quickly left with the 3 girls, leaving the people at the scene stunned and unable to respond. HMPH, my brother should have taken the opportunity to sneak away lazily. Lisa affirmed with her hands on her hips. How can the king do this? Even if he wants to be lazy and play around, He should take me with him. Shadowcat pouted and looked unhappy. She already had vague feelings for Tang Feng, but she didn't notice it. About internal political affairs, before the king returns, you can come discuss it with me. Charles smiled wryly and shook his head, pushing the wheelchair. Magneto also shook his head and said, followed him and left. The others looked at each other and left helplessly. Brother, what are we doing here? Tang Feng and Linger's three daughters stood on top of a building in front of Trident headquarters. Linger asked in confusion, Hydra revenge? Tang Feng pointed at Trident headquarters, as if it were a matter of course. There is S.H.I.E.L.D., the most powerful agent organization in the world. Will Hydra be hiding in S.H.I.E.L.D.? Kin said in disbelief. Why, didn't I tell you? S.H.I.E.L.D. has been infiltrated by Hydra. More than half of them are Hydra people. Even the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Alexander Pierce, is an important member of Hydra. Tang Feng tilted his head, looked at the three girls, and said, Twinkle, Linger. Kin Duo gave him a blank look, shook his head, and said nothing. Well, you didn't ask, and I didn't say. Tang Feng shrugged, opened the portal, walked in first, and said, let's go. Let's make a big fuss about S.H.I.E.L.D. today. The three women looked at each other, their pretty faces became serious, and they followed Tang Feng through the portal, ready to fight. Who? Stop. Tang Feng ignored the warnings of the surrounding agents, looked towards the Trident headquarters building, and snapped his fingers. A natural disaster order collapsed. The effect is that as long as it is the Hydra agent, everything will disappear. Invisible fluctuations enveloped the Trident headquarters, and commotion began to appear in the next second. What's wrong with me? My body is disappearing. Help. No, no. An agent in charge of the door saw his body disappear. He screamed desperately and instinctively called for help, and just halfway through, he completely disappeared without a trace. Not only him, there are 15 agents guarding below the building. Among them, there are 10 agents, all of whom have undergone sudden changes, and their bodies are disappearing one by one. The remaining 5 agents were all terrified. Inside the building, on each floor, a sudden change occurred at the same time. Hey, by the way, pour me a cup of coffee, thank you. A female employee was busy typing in front of the computer. Without turning her head to shout, she heard the sound of the cup falling strangely, and when she looked back, her previous colleague had disappeared. Remember that today is your birthday, and congratulations on being 1 year older. The two agents were talking. One of the agents was walking in front. He turned around as he walked, and was horrified to see that the very thing 933 that he congratulated was rapidly disappearing. He was stunned. Could it be that his blessing was so powerful that he cursed his colleague to death all of a sudden? Zana, I love you. 35 In a storage room, a man and a woman are talking about love. The man wants to kiss, and the woman closes her eyes in anticipation. She waited for a while, wondering why she couldn't sense his existence before it started. She opened her eyes immediately, and there was no boyfriend in front of her. Yes? Stop messing around. Where are you hiding? Come out. You hide again. I'm angry. I'm leaving. 35 The woman's cry, from doubt to panic. Take it away. Hill finished sorting out the files in his hand and was about to hand them over to the assistant beside him. His face was startled, and he saw his body quickly disappear. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a shadow. Let me tell you, if you want to get acquainted with your colleagues as soon as possible, you must be a newcomer. Phil Coulson was teaching the new agent and was talking when he saw him disappear. Not only him, Phil Coulson turned his head sharply, looked around, and could see the agents disappearing one after another. Because the body disappears too quickly, some agents are busy or talking and don't even notice it. The situation was so strange that Phil Coulson shuddered, and the panic could not be suppressed. Chapter 147 You like to slap, don't you? Beep. A piercing and loud siren kept ringing in the Trident headquarters building. This was the attack of the proxy enemy, and everyone was on alert. Hill, Phil Coulson, and the rest of the surviving agents urgently gathered together. Nick Fury walked over with a dignified face and a heavy heart, glanced at the crowd, hurriedly counted, and found that 2/3 were missing, nearly 300 elite agents, and he lost so much at once. More painful, The enemy is here, 1 man and 3 women, Tang Feng, the king of Atlantis, Tang Linger, the head of internal affairs, Blinking, the minister of logistics, and Kinjalai, the deputy director of intelligence. I have summoned the Avengers, and everyone will follow me to confront the enemy. Nick Fury was distressed and angry, but he also couldn't complain about the official position of Atlantis, so he made a move and took the lead to leave. Tang Feng, why did he come here for no reason and carry out a ruthless attack? He only killed most of the agents, but he didn't kill all of us. Phil Coulson thought doubtfully and followed him. Hill was equally puzzled and frowned as she wondered why. Nick Fury couldn't understand Tang Feng's sudden attack. As soon as he walked out of the building and saw Tang Feng's figure, he immediately shouted, "Tang Feng, what do you want to do? Are you going to start a war?" "Yes, I'm going to start a war." 35 Tang Feng hugged Yu Hung with both hands and nodded directly, which frightened Nick Fury and others, and subconsciously thought of the terrible scene of war. "However, I am not at war with you Shield, but with Hydra." Then, Tang Feng added, which surprised Nick Fury and others, suspecting that they had heard him wrong. "What do you mean?" "Not to mention that Hydra has already been destroyed. Even if there are still Hydra members left, they should go to other places to find them. Why did you come to my shield?" "They also used a strange power to kill about 300 of me. The agent of has disappeared." When Nick Fury heard Hydra's words, his heart skipped a beat. He suppressed his anger, calmed down, and asked in a deep voice, "It's very simple, because the agents I killed were all Hydra's spies." 99 This is impossible. As soon as Tang Feng's words were spoken, Nick Fury refuted him on the spot, which was hard to believe. "Joke. How could our shield hide so many Hydra spies?" "You have to find a reason, and you should find a reason that we can believe in," Hill sneered and said. Only Phil Coulson looked at Tang Feng's impassive expression and muttered in his heart, "Incredibly suspicious. Couldn't it be true?" Apart from this reason, he couldn't think of Tang Feng suddenly coming to kill the agent, but let them go for other reasons. "What I say is true, whether you believe it or not. It's up to you." HMPH. "It's ridiculous. Before I came, I was ambushed by Hydra. The island that ambushed me also let me destroy it with the power of natural disasters. You, as S.H.I.E.L.D., are not aware of such a big thing now." 5 Tang Feng shook his head speechlessly and laughed. Although he left after launching the natural disaster, he gathered everyone, explained the situation, and came here with his 3 daughters in less than half an hour. In such a short period of time, a small island disappears into the vast sea, and the outside world may not notice so quickly. However, unlike S.H.I.E.L.D., it has always been sensitive to various information from the outside world. What's more, when such a large and small planet falls and makes such a big movement, won't the satellites notice it? However, Nick Fury didn't know about it at all, and even several major countries had some awareness. Through satellite observation, they guessed that it was the natural disaster method launched by Tang Feng, and they chose to remain silent, as if it would never have happened. They were pretending that they didn't know. Nick Fury was completely ignorant, and as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's a big joke. "Hill, go check it out for me." Nick Fury was shocked on the spot. If what Tang Feng said was true, it might be a joke. He immediately turned his head and shouted at Hill solemnly, then made a dig at Phil Coulson, silently keeping a safe distance from the agent beside him. Although Tang Feng said before that he killed all of Hydra's spies, he couldn't take the risk and wouldn't believe anyone until things were cleared up. Phil Coulson's surveillance is also very strong, cunningly moving his steps silently. When Hill hurried back to the building, called up all the satellite systems and went to check, Tang Feng greeted the 3 girls and was about to leave. "Wait, you can't leave for the time being until things are cleared up." Seeing Tang Feng leaving, Nick Fury stretched out his hand and shouted, "No matter who is right or wrong, Tang Feng came to kill so many agents without saying a word, and he didn't take it seriously. How could he be willing to forgive Tang Feng so easily?" In this regard, Tang Feng completely ignored him and wanted to leave alone, and the portal had already opened. Boom! At this moment, a violent sonic boom appeared in the distance, and Captain Marvel Carol was the first to arrive after receiving a call from Nick Fury. "Tang Feng, Carol just arrived and saw that Nick Fury was about to leave Tang Feng, but she couldn't do anything, and saw that Tang Feng was about to enter the portal. The tension was urgent, and she attacked without even thinking about it. The double star state was activated, the energy exploded, and it turned into a white hole shape. The energy surged again and again, surpassing the peak, swooping down, and flying infinitely close to the speed of light, causing her to rush towards Tang Feng in time. Without thinking about keeping her hand, she concentrated all her strength on her right fist, swung back, gathered her strength, drew a semi-solar shape, and punched Tang Feng's face. It is said that you don't hit people in the face, you always want to hit me in the face, so don't blame me. The natural disaster was chaotic for a while. As time stood still, Tang Feng muttered, turned his head to the side, avoiding the path of the fist, and then punched Carol. Nuo how. Dr. Banner swallowed his saliva, looked at Tang Feng in fear, and muttered. His heart began to beat violently, not because of anger, but because of fear. When the frequency of his heartbeat reached a critical point, Dr. Banner transformed, and with a loud roar, the Hulk appeared. Blink, relax, play with this big guy. Tang Feng has lost interest in Hulk, a weak chicken, and said to the two women. Chapter 148, Kin's Strength. Hulk kept making violent roars, two big slaps, and slaps continuously. The solid ground, the buildings beside him, the streetlights, the fire hydrants, all suffered, all were damaged and destroyed. The two women were like flexible butterflies, dancing around Hulk, and in the face of Hulk's attack, they did not panic at all. Not to mention that Tang Feng is by their side and will protect them, but their combined strength is enough to entangle with Hulk for a while. Relying on her flexible speed, Linger used her scaly hands to tear and scratch Hulk from time to time, all of which only scratched the surface, causing him to scream in pain. Blink to the side to support. If you see that Linger is in danger, open the space channel and temporarily move Linger away from the far point. Or when Hulk punches and can't hold it back, open the space channel in front of him, let him in, then open the space channel at high altitude, and then let him fall. From the scene, it is the scene of two girls playing Hulk. However, in terms of strength, Hulk is much stronger than the two women. He just doesn't know how to think and can only attack instinctively, just like a beast. Even so, the situation of the two women is not very good. It is a great risk to tease Hulk, and if you don't pay attention, you may be crushed by him. That is to say, when Tang Feng called, they were relieved to play with 937 Hulk. In fact, they are just playing around. They can't help Hulk, and Hulk can't help the two girls temporarily. They don't look like serious battles. Shhhhhhh. The roar of the engine came from the distance in the sky. Tang Feng looked up and smiled. It was the fucking Tony who came. Jin, go take off Tony's steel battle suit. Qin nodded directly, grabbing it with one hand, the Phoenix Force hovering in her pupils, her long hair dancing in the absence of wind, and her invisible psychokinesis broke out. Tony was about to land and had already thought about the posture of landing gracefully. Who knew he would suddenly be unable to move? No matter how much the engine power was increased, he would still be unable to move. Jarvis, what's going on? Tony was shocked and asked. Sir, a force has been detected in the steel battle suit, which originated from the third-level mutant, Jean Grey. According to his analysis, she did not have this power similar to psychokinesis before. Jarvis quickly analyzed the results. Very well, erase her previous information, recollect her information, and now tell me how to break free from her power control. I recommend opening the shield. Well, as I thought, she is indeed my housekeeper, but her brain is only slightly worse than mine. 5. Open the shield. Tony gave the order with voice control. Okay, sir. Jarvis opened the protective cover while analyzing. According to rigorous scientific research, it has been proven that the human brain is no match for the computer. Don't talk to me about scientific research, I say yes, Tony said, putting on the protective cover, increasing the engine power again, trying to break free from psychokinesis. I saw the steel battlesuit stagnant in the air, protected by a protective cover, and moving slowly. Qin frowned slightly, snorted coldly, A little angry, her temperament changed, and her power output became stronger. Tang Feng watched from the side, as if seeing Dark Phoenix. Click click. Huh? Jarvis, did you hear something? Tony was in the mask, looking at the screen in front of him, and asked suspiciously. It's the kind of psychokinesis that has been strengthened. It's tightening the shield to speed up the shield's energy loss. It's down to 55%. 5. That's a pity. It's like this again, damn it. It seems that there is a good way to store more Rubik's Cube energy in the shield equipment. Tony said with a wry smile. His eyes fixed and decisively said, explode the remaining energy of the cube, and the direction is her down. Sir, this is very dangerous. It will hurt him. There is a 63% chance of seriously injuring him. Don't talk nonsense. If you don't do it now, you will die when the cube's energy is exhausted. Tony roared impatiently. Jarvis stopped talking, obeyed the order, and blew up the protective cover, trying to direct the power of the explosion in the direction of Kin as much as possible. Boom. There was a roar in the sky. The protective cover was torn open, and the power of the Rubik's Cube energy explosion shattered the psychokinesis restriction on the spot, and the remaining explosive power went straight to the piano. At the same time, Tony was thrown far away, but fortunately he had the protection of the steel battle suit, otherwise he would be dead. Kin screamed and pushed forward with both hands. In an instant, the 4th level psychokinesis level erupted, and before the explosion came, he resisted it terrifyingly. Okay. Your consciousness and that of Dark Phoenix have been further integrated, and you can burst out the power of level 4, which proves that you are a level 4 mutant. 35. Furthermore, the power of the 4th level is also under your control and will not get out of control. You are not far from the time of becoming a 5th level mutant. Tang Feng hugged Kin's shoulders and said congratulations. The integration of Jean and Dark Phoenix is not a one-time event, and it will take time. After this period of integration, coupled with the threat of the Rubik's Cube energy exploding just now, Kin's integration progress finally accelerated, and after Tang Feng, she became a 4th level mutant. Is this the power of level 4? So powerful. Kin couldn't help but be shocked by her own strength. With a light wave of her hand, the powerful psychokinesis shattered a building next to her. Use psychokinesis, wrap these far-away throws and fly. And when you crash, there is only one motorcycle coming at extreme speed. There was a man and a woman on the motorcycle. They were the captain and Black Widow. The captain was driving. He looked up, startled but not confused. He violently swung the front of the car, turned the throttle to the maximum, and turned his body to the side, and Black Widow also turned to the side. The motorcycle turned on the spot, deviated from the direction, and urgently avoided the falling object above. Whoosh whoosh, there were several screams in a row. 3 arrows shot at Kin. The captain and the Black Widow arrived, and Hawkeye also arrived, hiding in a building, shooting bows and arrows to support. Jin raised her finger, and with a single tap, she controlled the 3 arrows with psychokinesis, then pointed at Hawkeye's hiding place and flew back to wherever they came from. With the blessing of psychokinesis, the 3 arrows flew faster, piercing the sound barrier, and their power was comparable to that of a cannonball, piercing the walls of the building. Horrified, Hawkeye hurriedly rolled to dodge, but was still swept by an arrow in the waist, and a wound was immediately drawn, and the bones were deep. With the support of Hawkeye, Jean was distracted. The captain and the Black Widow dodged the falling object in embarrassment, and let the motorcycle crash into the building. The two opted to jump out of the car, rolled a few times and landed safely. Chapter 149, Hulk, Who Has No Love. Tang Feng stopped Kina, who wanted to play again, glanced at the captain and the Black Widow, turned to the 2 women in the distance, and shouted, "You can go back." After hearing Tang Feng's words, Linger and Flicker breathed a sigh of relief. Although they knew that Tang Feng was there and their safety was guaranteed, if they wanted to entangle Hulk, they still had to concentrate on coping. They might be injured if they were not careful. They didn't dare to be negligent in the slightest, and they couldn't really hurt Hulk. This kind of battle was too tiring. Open the space channel for Flicker, take Linger to evacuate safely, and return to Tang Feng's side. Hulk clapped his hands loudly and punched the air, bringing up a strong wind that swept away all the gravel on the ground. When the two girls disappeared, he yelled in anger, already very angry. He had to slap the two girls in order to feel relieved. Noticing the two women appearing beside Tang Feng, his two big feet leaped lightly, and immediately crossed a distance of tens of meters, flew over the two women, twisted his body, and waved his fist, and was about to smash his big fist. HMPH, you irritable big man, give me some peace of mind. Tang Feng condensed the calamity and formed a dark red rope, which flexibly tied Hulk's body tightly. Then he pulled hard and threw Hulk to the ground, and before he finished, he held the rope of disaster and kept shaking Hulk like a meteor hammer, smashing him on both sides. The rope formed by the 5th level disaster force is very tough. With Hulk's power, it cannot be broken temporarily. He can only follow Tang Feng's force involuntarily and continuously hit the ground. He only felt that the world was changing, as if spinning in circles, which made him feel sick for a while. After finally as Tang Feng withdrew his hands and let go of the rope of calamity, Hulk had been crushed many times, lying under a large pit with his eyes blank and a lifeless expression. Comfortable. It seems that hitting people like this is pretty cool. I can try it more in the future. Tang Feng looked at Hulk maliciously and said. Hulk heard it, came back to his senses, and shuddered subconsciously, and then rage shouted frantically, and roar hit the bottom of the pit, jumped up, snorted, and stared at Tang Feng fiercely. Why, you still want to fight? I sank you to the bottom of the sea last time. Do you want to push you under the continent this time? Tang Feng stared straight at Hulk, hugged Ju-hung with both hands and said thoughtfully. Hearing this, Hulk couldn't help but take a few steps back, showing a look of horror. He would also be afraid. The last time he was swept away by a huge wave and sank to the bottom of the sea, he would never forget it, and it became a shadow in his heart. Hulk, stop. Everyone will stop first. At this moment, Captain Marvel Carol's words came from a distance, and she recovered the wounds on her face, carrying the injured Hawkeye in one hand and Tony, who was also injured and vomiting blood in the other, and flew down from the air. The captain and Black Widow watched the three Tang Feng vigilantly and walked over. Tang Feng, what do you want to do? 35 as she asked. Carol touched her cheek with her hand, cursing in her heart. What a bastard, what a hard blow, what a pain in the blow. You are wrong, I should have asked you what you want to do. As soon as you attack, I am really going to be bullied. Tang Feng spread his hands and asked back. Carol's face froze. She was wrong and took action without knowing the situation, thinking. She couldn't help but look at Nick Fury who was standing on the other side. We don't dare to bully you, and we don't have that kind of power, but you are too bullying, killing so many of my subordinates at once. Even if you have a reason, you can't make a decision on your own. Nick Fury walked over and said to Tang Feng and explained to Carol and the others, I can do whatever I want. I only killed Hydra agents, and by the way, I didn't kill you. You should be thankful that I saved your life by luck, and you dared to tell me. Can't you decide without authorization? How old are you? 35. The boss of S.H.I.E.L.D., the commander-in-chief of the Avengers, with a lot of face. In my opinion, an irrelevant little character. 35. Tang Feng stuck out his ears. His casual attitude and sarcastic words made Nick Fury angry and gritted his teeth. I really wanted to punch Tang Feng in the face. A Hydra spy is hiding in S.H.I.E.L.D.? I knew that S.H.I.E.L.D. was not a good thing, an organization gathered by a group of agents. Their hands were covered in blood, and I didn't know how many shady things they did, and said what statement to protect the world was originally funny. It turns out that Hydra has never gone extinct, and it has hidden you, a one-eyed dragon, hiding in S.H.I.E.L.D. It's too useless, so let's just disband S.H.I.E.L.D. 0. Flowers, you should also take the blame and resign. Don't be the commander-in-chief of the Avengers. Leave it to me. The future of world peace is left to us, the Avengers. Tony held back the pain of the wound. Not only did he not speak for Nick Fury, but also fell into the trap. He said, Tony, shut up. Now is not the time to say that. Captain Marvel Carol turned to look at Tony and said sharply. Tony snorted, turned his face away, did not fight back, unexpectedly gave her face. After the last battle with Tang Feng, I also saw Carol's indomitable willpower and strength. which made Tony and others view it differently and had to accept it. Tang Feng, if you just want to deal with Hydra, you don't need to be so troublesome, just tell us and we can eliminate Hydra again. Carol said sincerely. She considered that when she was about to face the crisis of annihilating the Zerg, she would eventually have to work with Tang Feng to deal with it, thinking that she could not make everyone's relationship so rigid. Otherwise, how could they join forces to fight the enemy? Therefore, she was telling the truth and was willing to put aside her grievances with Tang Feng. Does Hydra really still exist? Didn't they say that they were all wiped out? The captain looked at Nick Fury and questioned. In this regard, Nick Fury was speechless. What can he say? Although he has taken in the Hydra members, he thinks he can control them before he takes them in with confidence. He has always believed that Hydra has been wiped out. Director, I found out that the satellite system just failed, and more coincidentally, the agent monitoring the satellite system did not find it immediately and did not report it to us in time. That agent happened to be killed by Tang Feng together. At this moment, Hill rushed over and said with an ugly face. Nick Fury's face is even more ugly, and luck is completely gone. There are so many coincidences in the world. If you exclude the unreasonable ones, the rest is the truth. Tang Feng did not lie to him. Tony snorted coldly. He chose to believe it from the beginning. He asked himself to have some understanding of Tang Feng's character and knew that with Tang Feng's crushing strength, there was no need to lie. Chapter 150, The Disintegrating Shield. With Hill's words, Nick Fury can't believe it now. His shield really has Hydra spies. Not only are there, but there are more than just their agents. This is something that makes him feel pain and sadness. Everything becomes clear. Captain Marvel, Carol, Tony, the captain and the others looked at each other in silence, no longer in the mood to fight. The most important thing now is to figure out the relationship between Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury, I want an explanation. Why is Hydra, which has already been annihilated, hidden in S.H.I.E.L.D.? Now I am very doubtful whether this S.H.I.E.L.D. that protects world peace is your S.H.I.E.L.D. or Hydra's S.H.I.E.L.D. The captain questioned Nick Fury angrily, not being polite at all and not showing his face. S.H.I.E.L.D. has always been hiding Hydra agents, and there are still many 937, even Nick Fury can hide it. In other words, the dignified Nick Fury is not the absolute ruler of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Hydra also secretly controls the direction of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, did Hydra intervene in the tasks that S.H.I.E.L.D. asked him to complete before? Could he be working for Hydra? Thinking of this possibility, the captain's heart would burst with anger. Even director Nick Fury didn't know that S.H.I.E.L.D. was hiding a spy for Hydra, which is absurd. It's even more absurd that what I've been doing all along could also be doing things for Hydra. Black Widow was hit hard, took a few steps back, and smiled bitterly. Director Nick Fury, is the mission I've been doing correct? Hawkeye's eyes were confused, and he muttered, "This Hydra is horrible," Dr. Banner exclaimed. He has regained his body, and Hulk went out this time, surprisingly behaved well, and came back without doing anything to his liking. Hulk, what's going on? With Captain Marvel, Carol, I can't beat the captain, and I can't do anything. With Tang Feng around, the enemy that could be defeated could not be defeated, but he was severely defeated. Anyway, with these two people around, he couldn't do anything. So when he saw that the battle had temporarily stopped, he simply slipped away and didn't want to be a punching bag. Fury, you have disappointed me so much, and I don't know how you are the boss of S.H.I.E.L.D. Captain Marvel Carol is also on the side of hating Iron and Steel, he said. Yes, it's so disappointing. Hydra has been playing with you all the time, like a joker. You are no longer qualified to be our commander-in-chief. Everyone, I have a proposal. Even S.H.I.E.L.D. can't believe it. We, the Avengers, should no longer listen to anyone's orders. It should be time for us to be independent and act on our own. Tony clapped his hands, causing everyone to look over, and said loudly, I'm sorry, but I, the director, have done too many derelictions of duty, and I didn't even realize that Hydra was hiding under my nose. Tony is right. I no longer have the qualifications to be your commander-in-chief, including the matter of the Avengers leaving S.H.I.E.L.D. It can also be negotiated. It was an afterthought, The most important thing right now is that everyone must not fight internally and must work together to completely eradicate the cancer of Hydra. 99 Nick Fury didn't justify anything for himself. He took all the faults as his own. He took retreat as his advance. First to appease everyone, unite everyone's forces, solve the Hydra problem, and then talk about other things. Tang Feng, are you leaving? Wouldn't you join forces with us to deal with Hydra? Nick Fury's words make sense. A superhero, one by one, has calmed down, thinking silently. When Carol saw Tang Feng open the portal, she was about to take the three girls away without saying a word, and hurriedly shouted, "Don't be kidding, just one Hydra. I can uproot them all by myself, and I don't need to join forces with you at all." 35 What you are going to do and how you fight is your business, not mine. I am hurrying to kill Alexander Pierce now, and it has been delayed long enough for me to receive the news that he is going to run away. Tang Feng left these words and left with the three daughters. Alexander Pierce, it really was, and only under his cover, could he set up Hydra's spies and keep me a secret. 35 After Nick Fury heard Tang Feng's words, the suspicion in his heart was immediately confirmed, and he said through gritted teeth, "No, let's hurry up. I still have a lot of things to ask Pierce. I hope Tang Feng won't kill him so quickly." Immediately afterwards, Nick Fury yelled and took the lead to leave, followed by Hill and Phil Coulson. The rest of the superheroes looked at each other and followed. Alexander Pierce is the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury can serve as the current director, not only because of his ability, but also because of his strong support. Therefore, Nick Fury has always been grateful and respectful to him. Moreover, Pierce is too good at disguising himself, so Fury hasn't noticed anything. Pierce's residence is not far from Trident headquarters. Before Tang Feng came, he already knew the address of his residence, and by scouting the field, he had been locked in by his presence. As soon as he stepped out of the portal, Tang Feng looked up and smiled. Pierce was on the fighter plane and wanted to run away. Obviously, Tang Feng made such a big noise at Trident headquarters, Pierce couldn't ignore it, just because the Hydra agent died all at once, so he didn't. Pierce understood what was going on for a while. When he quietly contacted a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who was on the scene, he was shocked when he heard the agent's report and the conversation between Tang Feng and Nick Fury. Pierce knew that Baron Stella personally went out and designed a conspiracy to deal with Tang Feng, and also participated and provided some technical support. He also specifically instructed the spies hiding in S.H.I.E.L.D. When the incident of Baron Stella's assassination of Tang Feng occurred and caused a big movement, he would first find a reason to hide it and try to delay it for a while, because he didn't want to have an accident. If Nick Fury knew about the well-designed ambush and 4.7 unexpectedly ordered the Avengers to check, or helped Tang Feng make the ambush plan fail, it would definitely make people regret it. Unexpectedly, the final result was that the island was destroyed by the force of the natural disaster. Baron Stella also lost contact. It is very likely that he has died. Tang Feng's life and death is unknown. When he wanted to confirm whether Tang Feng was alive or dead, he learned that Tang Feng had come to S.H.I.E.L.D. He didn't know where he got the news from. Not only did he know that S.H.I.E.L.D. had Hydra spies, but he also killed all the spies very accurately. This time, Pierce panicked and didn't dare to bet that Tang Feng would also discover his hidden identity. 36 Strategies. Walking was the best strategy, so he decided to pay attention and leave first. Even if his decision was quick, it was not as fast as Tang Feng's portal. As soon as he got on the fighter plane, Tang Feng arrived. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.